Good morning. It's Monday morning, and we've got some characters here to look at. I'm Christopher, editor-in-chief of Greater Than Games, and I'm going to be showing you not Benchmark, not Stuntman, but all 4 decks of the heroes known as Void Guard. With me today here is Maggie. She is our social media manager, and she's great at stuff. And she's going to be helping me out because though I'm pretty okay at card game things, I'm not so good at live stream things. And that's why we have Maggie. All right. We'll be doing another one of these tomorrow morning and another one on Thursday morning. And on those mornings, we'll be talking about these decks. But until then, today, we're just going to talk about Void Guard.
We got a lot of people in the chat saying hi and good morning.
Excellent, excellent. So we've got dividers here. So here. Great, that's my table space. Here we've got dividers for each of the members of a team that was known as the Sentinels, but then with some power upgrades they got over the course, or right before the OblivAeon event, they became Void Guard. And there's also the packaging that goes in this thing that has information about the characters and all that, and an overview. And inside the box here, there's some gameplay rules that explains what happens with them in play, and what do you do if you've got them in play at the same time as the hero team known as the Sentinels, because then you've got duplicated names, and not worry about that. Not a big deal. Everything's good. So I've got these packs of cards here of all sorts, and I'm going to open them up and go through them one by one. We have not preset any of this. We're doing it all live, so that's going to be fun. My intent is to start with Dr. Medico, but we'll see what happens as I open these packages up. How's the chat doing today? How's everybody? How's your Monday treating you?
We got a lot of excited humans. I don't know what's happening there, but
normal sentences.
Yeah, we got a lot of excited folks here. I let them know that I'm monitoring chat, so if you guys have any questions or you want to tell Christopher anything exciting, just let me know.
All right. Yeah, and if you guys have questions about this or other things as we're here, we're happy to field them. Worst case scenario, we'll tell you, we're not talking about that today. If you ask a question that's way off base.
Can you tell us the difficulty of the heroes when you start them? Like when you start explaining them?
Oh, sure. These are, Dr. Medico is a 3, Mainstay is a 2, Idealist is a 3, and Ride is a 2. We'll reiterate that. So yeah, Dr. Medico is a 3 because Dr. Medico is focused on healing, and as a result, it's an interesting sort of mechanic to try to maintain because you're not doing as much in terms of the fighting stuff. You are all about the healing. So Dr. Medico's base power is called Clinical Consult. You select a target, and then the next time that target regains HP, you increase the amount of HP regained by 2. So you're just setting up for better health regaining in the future. That could be an effect from you, or it could be an effect from an environment or some other hero even. So
somebody wants to know, Doc Emmett Brown wants to know, will those expansions come packaged as shown in our OblivAeon? Okay.
Yeah, they will. So in OblivAeon, you're going to get, when you get your OblivAeon shipment, you're going to get a giant cardboard case. It may be more giant or less giant, depending on what all you ordered, what all you backed on OblivAeon. But in that case, there will be a copy of OblivAeon and some other exciting things, and then the various mini expansions, both this giant case with the Void Guard characters in them, as well as the Benchmark and Stuntman cases. So,
someone else asked if this is going to go on their permanent record.
Yes.
And it'll be used against them in the Celestial Tribunal?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
That was what we agreed to.
All right. So, let's see. I'm going to start sorting cards by the sorts of things they do here. This is... It's got a lot of interesting things going on. I think I'm leaving the video zone pretty quickly here. Yeah. I'll slide him over. So many one-shots. All right. I think there's only 2 more. All right.
Are the signed poster designs finalized? They are, right?
The what?
The signed posters.
The signed posters. Oh, yeah. Those are all done and printed and everything.
Yeah.
I think everything at this point is...
You guys were in the process of signing it last I checked.
Yep.
Okay, then there was one more. Once you're done explaining a given character's deck, can you explain how their variant versions impact gameplay? Like how Dr. Medico's deck plays differently when using Malpractice Dr. Medico.
Right. Yeah, I can talk about that. I don't have any of those character cards with me. I wish I did.
Do you?
They're in the foil pack, but I don't have any of the individual promos. But for now, we'll just go with this, and then I remember the cards well enough so I can talk about them. But I might duck out and grab their full foil variants. That would never work.
Okay.
That would, I mean, it would work, but I don't want to make demands of people. All right. Okay. So, like we talked about, Dr. Medico, his base power increases the next amount of healing done. So, unsurprisingly, especially given that he is a being made of living healing energy, he has a lot of healing in his deck. A lot of it comes at a great cost, though, because he's made of this energy that he's giving away. So, for instance, he's got a card called Doctor's Orders. Ooh, I'll put it here. This is here, Doctor's Orders. What? It's great. If I put it right here, you can see it both floating in the air. Yeah, this is the best way to do this. It's not even going to focus. Don't worry about it. Doctor's Orders that he deals himself 1 energy damage, and then a hero character card other than him regains 2 hit points and may use a power immediately. So that if you'd used your base power on the previous turn and then played this card on the next turn, or if you could use an out-of-turn power or a start-of-turn power, for instance, you would have somebody regain 4 HP at the cost of 1 damage to Dr. Medico. So probably worth it. Plus they get to use a power. That's huge. And he's got other things where he, a similar one is Life Force of Will, that he deals himself 2 energy damage, and another hero either regains 2 HP or uses a power. So he gives a lot of power usage away because he's giving his own energy away. But that is helpful. He's a very different sort of support. Every time I've written a support deck for this game, I've looked for making it like notably different than any other supports we've done. So, Legacy was the first one, and then Argent Adept is a really different one, and Parse goes a completely different direction. So it's fun to, and this is the most like basic healer support ever, and yet it's done with this interesting there's only so much life that he has to give away. He's got 24 hit points to start on his character card, so. Preventative Care, he selects a target other than himself, prevents the next damage that would be dealt to that target, and draws a card and plays a card. So his cycle card is even still about keeping that energy going.
Cult of Gloom asked, for those of us who came in late, can someone say what the base power is? His base power is he selects a target and increases the next healing that would happen to that target by 2. So you pick any old target in play, and the next time that target would regain HP, it regains that much HP plus 2. So that combos really well with a lot of the effects that he sets up within his deck. Right now we're just kind of going through the one-shots and talking about the one-shot things he does, and then we'll talk about the ongoings to see how that's going to affect his gameplay style. Because the one-shots are going to be the stuff he's doing within his turn, whereas the ongoings will, there's some of the ongoings that really change up his play style. Someone else had asked, can this go on the wiki? Can this information go on the wiki?
Sure, if someone wants to type it up and put it on the wiki, that's great.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do it. I have other things to do.
And did Adam collapse from all of the art he had to draw yet?
So Adam was doing all this art last year and even the year before, starting the year before, end of that year. He did actually injure one of his fingers in the process of drawing and had to take a couple weeks off of drawing, which was torturous for him. Not drawing was worse than drawing. And then currently he's working on a ton of art for the upcoming Sentinel Comics role-playing game. And that is also taking a toll on him, but he's doing it at a much more reasonable rate than before. But yeah, we also are able to split up Adam's time a good deal these days with things like the letters page and meetings that he and I have about the art and story direction of the RPG. So he's not drawing 20 hours a day every day anymore, only 10 hours a day every other day. Actually, probably more than that, realistically. Anyway, it's good times.
Are there any other heroes you would consider support heroes?
I mentioned Legacy, Argent Adept, and Parse. Captain Cosmic is, in a way, I'd consider Captain Cosmic a support hero. Again, it's very different, but people sometimes say that Tempest is a support hero because Tempest has the everybody regains 2 HP card, but that is one card in a deck that's really focused more on damage and also control. Tempest is kind of a specialist that is good at damage, defense, healing, villain control, deck control. It's a little bit of everything. So I wouldn't consider that a support deck. Yeah, I don't come to these decks with thinking, this one's going to be a support, or this one's going to be a frontliner, or things like that. That kind of happens. It's a bit more based on their story. That you think about the story of who Dr. Medico is as a hero, and you're like, okay, well, this is going to be a hero that's focused on healing and taking care of his allies, but at what cost? He's got a card called Positive Prognosis, that he deals himself 1 damage, and every player draws a card, and each hero character regains 1 HP, and that includes himself. So that is a way that he can kind of cycle his own health if there are things that increase healing to or reduce damage to him.
Does Void Guard really work well together?
Yeah, they do. They work well together, but they work well together in a way similar to the way the Freedom 5 does. And it's not like, oh, this deck's got mechanics that like will set up a thing and pass it to another character or something like that. It's nothing internal to the deck. For that, you want to see something like Southwest Sentinels, where it's built into the deck. With this one, it's more of they cover all the different angles. So Dr. Medico has a bit of damage that he can output, but it's also a lot of team utility and a lot of healing. And we'll talk about each of the other ones as we get into those decks about how that comes into play to help them out. Yeah, there's definite things that make a difference there.
Do they work well together with the Southwest Sentinels?
Yeah, you could play all 4 of them and the Southwest Sentinels in a team. It's a little bit of redundancies. The only concern that I have there, I mean, Medico is really helpful keeping the Southwest Sentinels from dying too quick, because their biggest weakness is that they have very low HP. So Medico can help with that. But they weren't specifically designed to go hand in hand with the Southwest Sentinels, but because their stories are the same story, just at different points in time, it makes sense that they work well together. Okay, Intensive Care, he deals himself damage, a hero target other than him regains 2 HP, and it reduces the next damage dealt to that target by 2, and then he draws some cards. So, we are almost out of one-shots. I kind of wanted to go through the bread and butter one-shots, the ones you would expect to see first, before getting into a bit of the weirder stuff. He's got a couple of different things now that kind of change the way he can act, and one of them is a card called Immunization, in which he deals each hero character card, other than himself, 1 irreducible energy damage. So he deals damage to all of his teammates with this one. And then targets dealt damage this way are immune to damage until the start of your next turn. So he zaps somebody with some energy, and that energy makes them immune to damage for a round. So that's a cool way that he can set up a big thing is coming, I can save everyone other than myself. His last one-shot, he has 4 copies of because he uses it to set up a bunch of things. It would be a pretty basic card in almost anybody else's deck. In his deck, it's the start of something interesting when coupled with either his base power from his regular card, his base power from his variant, or with any of his ongoings. So this one's called Flare Up, and on this card, he deals 1 target 3 energy damage, and then he and 1 other hero target each regain 1 HP. So the second part of that can cycle really interestingly with his base power because of the extra healing it does. And him actually straight up dealing damage on a one-shot is actually extremely rare, as we've seen. Any questions before we dig into the ongoing cards?
Cool. Will this information be shown in text format on the Kickstarter page, ideally with pictures of all the cards shown?
Nope, I'm not going to take all of the cards and put them up as images on the Kickstarter within like the full text and all that. Like that would take a bunch more time than even this live stream is going to take, like significantly more. And I want to. This is an experience of like a friend got a deck of cards and you're talking through it. That's exciting. Here's the entire text of all the stuff. A, it takes a bunch of time, and B, it doesn't have the same level of discovery to it. So. That's not a thing that I think that we're going to prioritize doing, unless somebody other than me really wants to do it. But I'm not hype about it. You're going to get these things soon, real soon.
Okay. Does having a member of the Void Guard active count towards Southwest Sentinel cards?
No.
Check that.
No.
Okay.
That was the thing that I mentioned at the beginning, where there's specific rules for the Void Guard that are in their packaging.
There you
in
go.
Here, that say, when a card from Dr. Medico's deck says Dr. Medico, it means the Dr. Medico of that deck. When a card from the Southwest Sentinels deck says Dr. Medico, it means the Dr. Medico associated with that deck. So there's not crossover in those ways between those teams, because they're essentially 2 different people. But how can that be? How could they both be in the same game? We shattered the timelines in the 80s. This is all totally possible.
In-cap abilities.
Yeah. His incapacitated abilities include 1 player may draw a card, 1 target regains 2 HP, and up to 3 targets regain 1 HP each. And if I had magical cards, oh my gosh. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you,
You're
Alex.
a lifesaver. I just got, I'll just put them here. I just got some foil cards that are the promos for the variants for each of the members of Void Guard. And I'm just going to put them over here and forget about them and not talk about them in this live stream. But I like to look at them. Or I'll talk about them when we get to the end of each deck, because I like going through here and saying, oh, this is the way this deck works with this card. Now, in retrospect, let's consider how it works with a different card.
So Cult of Gloom asked, the beginning of his question isn't important, but...
Oh, wow, cool. Way to just throw that in. Yeah.
He knows what he did.
Okay.
Does damage redirect from one member of the Void Guard to another member get a nemesis bonus? Does damage redirected, sorry, not...
Right.
Yeah.
I understand the question that is being asked. And I believe that we even specifically say something about that here in the gameplay rules. No, we did it in the other time that it happens. Nemesis damage is essentially from deck to deck. So yes, because the heroes aren't covering each other's backs, they're not expecting damage from each other. Okay. Healing Pulse is an ongoing card that says at the end of your turn, up to 3 targets regain 1 HP each. So this is a way that combos really nicely with your base power, because this is at the end of each turn, 3 targets regain 1 HP. That's great. So you can set it up and be like, okay, I'm going to use my power, say, hey, you, the next time you regain HP, increase it by 2, and then use this card to give everybody, or give 3 targets 1 HP each, one of which could get a +2 for 3 HP. So that is a good thing. It also has a power on it that he deals himself 2 energy damage, and each hero character card other than him regains 2 HP. So these are much more notable ways to get a lot of health coming in fast. Where do we want to go next? Let's go to Triage. Dr. Medico deals himself 2 energy damage. Then he... Oh, this is a one-shot. Why did I put it up in the ongoing? So I'm like, this is weird. No, this is a one-shot. He deals himself 2 energy damage. You discard a card, and then, because you discarded a card... this is a cool card. You either restore 1 active hero character card to 10 HP, or 1 target regains 4 HP. So 1 target regains 4 HP is a ton of health, but also restoring an active hero character card to 10 HP is notable, because you're like, oh, I've got somebody who's at 1 or 2 HP. You're all the way up to 10. Interestingly, the art on that is Dr. Medico healing up. You can totally tell from this. I'm going to see if I do this. You can kind of tell. Dr. Medico healing up Fnatic. So if you can manage to combo that with like Aegis of Resurrection, you can keep Fnatic up forever.
Have you been saying how much of each card there were?
Only occasionally. There's, for instance, 2 copies of Triage. There's 3 copies of Healing Pulse, and then I shuffled everything else up to there. I mentioned there was 4 copies of Flare Up. There's 2 or 3 copies of everything except for Flare Up, which has 4 copies in this deck. And I can start saying it from now on. Like, for instance, Prescription Strength shows Dr. Medico handing a ball of glowing energy to Writhe, and there's 3 copies of that card. And at the start of each hero's turn, you can choose to destroy this card. So you play this card; it's an ongoing; it hangs out in your play area. At the start of any other hero's turn, or actually any hero's turn, including yourself, you can choose to destroy this card. If you do, or rather, when this card is destroyed, so it works when you choose to destroy it, or if a villain effect to destroy a card, you're like, yeah, destroy this ongoing card. When you do so, you select a hero target. And that hero target regains 3 HP, and you increase damage dealt by that target this turn by 1. So it's frequently better to save it and not use it for villain damage unless a hero target is going to get to capitalize on that this turn. And it increases all damage dealt by that hero target by 1 for this turn. We've got Regeneration, and this shows Dr. Medico regenerating from just a little pile of dust. There's 3 copies of this card. At the start of your turn, draw 2 cards, use a power, and destroy this card. At the end of each your turn, Dr. Medico regains 2 HP. So you play this card. So this is the thing. We've been spending this whole time, spending Dr. Medico's health like crazy, going through damage very quickly. And he's only got 24 hit points to start. So he gets low pretty quickly. But then you put in a regeneration. At the end of each turn, Dr. Medico regains a bit of HP. And then at the start of your turn, you draw 2 cards, use a power, and destroy this card. So you set up for a mega turn. And there's 3 copies of this card. So regeneration turns are a big thing for Dr. Medico. I want to say that to the end. That's the scary one. You want to do that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Universal Donor. There's only 2 copies of this ongoing card. Dr. Medico, it says whenever Dr. Medico is dealt damage, a hero target other than Dr. Medico regains 1 HP. And then it has a power, 1 target regains 2 HP. The ongoing effect, the power is fine. It's nice. 1 target regains 2 HP. It's a good, like, look, sometimes you just need to put out a couple of hit points and you're not doing it any other way. But the whenever effect is super cool because whenever he's dealt damage, a hero target other than himself regains 1 HP. And we saw his own deck deals him a bunch of damage. And so this is a really good way to keep that life essence flowing out into the world.
Third Angus asks,
Third Anguisse.
Anguisse, sorry.
I probably pronounced it wrong.
Is regeneration a limited card? Can you stack them for a massive one-turn boost?
Nope, it's limited. Regeneration's limited, as is Universal Donor, but yeah, prescription strength isn't limited.
Somebody else asked, he likes to work with a big team then.
Yeah, he's better when he has more targets to work with, but it also can cost him a lot more to keep all those people up. So a smaller team, he's able to, like, his regenerations are more powerful with more heroes in play, certainly. But with more heroes in play, he's healing more things, so it's costing him more energy. So the payoff's pretty fair.
Level Up Leo asks, how long did it take to come up with all of these medical terms for card effects?
I mean, you can just go to Wikipedia and say, hey, show me medical terms. The other thing is that the playtesters were super helpful, because I had a bunch of really great medical terms when I put out these decks in the first place to the playtesters, and then some of them were like, excuse me, you don't have a card called, man, what was one? The playtesters probably remember better than I do. But there's certainly cards that the playtesters are like, look, you don't have any card that's called Universal Donor, you should probably have one. And it's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Actually, I think that one was probably one of the ones from Braithwaite, if my memory serves me correctly, which it might not, because that was a year ago. Yeah. Maybe even more than that by now. It was more than that. Ancient times. Let's talk about another card. It's an ongoing card that's limited. It's got 3 copies. It's called Experimental Medicine. And for those of you lore junkies that have been listening to the letters page, it shows a fight happening in Mordengrad with Apostate and Captain Cosmic and Bunker and Dr. Medico. And this is a thing that we did mention at one point because it was such a weird, unique sort of event that's happening. So this is one of those arts that's like, what is going on here? Good thing we already talked about it. It also has like a million lines of text. This is a very heavy card. Experimental Medicine. At the start of your turn, Dr. Medico may deal himself 2 toxic damage. You can choose to do that. If he does not take damage this way, destroy this card. So you got to keep paying for this card every turn, every one of your turns. Damage dealt by Dr. Medico is irreducible and cannot be increased. So as long as this card's in play, your damage can't be reduced, or because it's irreducible, and it also can't be increased by any effect. And this is damage to other people, but also damage to yourself. This combos very interestingly with his promo. Increase HP recovery caused by your cards and powers by 1. So all recovery caused by your cards and powers is increased by 1 as long as Experimental Medicine's in play. So it sets up a lot of cool healing, and it kind of caps your damage, but at a cost. A lot of his stuff is very costly, self-costly. We got From the Brink and Second Opinion. We'll do Second Opinion last. That's the scary one. From the Brink, ongoing card, 2 copies. When damage would reduce a hero to 0 or fewer HP, you may prevent that damage. Boom. When damage is prevented this way, each hero target regains 2 HP, and then remove this card from the game. So From the Brink goes away and is gone forever. You have to take it out of the game, you tear it into little pieces, you throw those pieces away, and you burn those pieces. And then you email us and say, hey, I tore up and burned one of my cards, Can I get a replacement? And then we respond and say, no, you were supposed to do that. You can't do that. What were you going to say?
They send us the ashes.
Yeah, if you send us the ashes, then we will bury those ashes in the backyard here behind our warehouse, but still not send you a copy. Don't do those things. Part of my job is to lie to you. I haven't lied to you about the card effects or the game mechanics yet. But I have lied to you about what you're supposed to do with this card. Don't tear it up. If you tear it up and burn it, we will not replace it because that part was true. But yeah, so this is a great card because if someone is about to get incapacitated and this card's in play, they don't get incapacitated. They regain 2 HP. You prevent the damage that would incapacitate them. So they're set at whatever HP they were before they would be incapacitated. Then they regain 2 HP, and each other hero target also regains 2 HP, but then this card is removed from the game. You've only got 2 copies of this card, so you can do this at most twice over the course of a game.
Someone said they're getting mixed messages. And then someone else said, don't worry, Christopher's lying.
Yeah, see? That's the thing. Just get used to that. All right, the last card from his deck is called Second Opinion. It's an ongoing card. It is limited. There's 3 copies of it. At the start of your turn, Dr. Medico may deal one target 3 energy damage. If he deals damage this way, destroy this card. So, at any point in time, at the start of your turn, at the start of any of your turns, you can deal a target 3 damage and destroy this card. It's a good way to get rid of it. It does 3 damage. How nice. While this card is in play, whenever a hero would regain 3 or more HP, they may use a power instead. So while Second Opinion's in play, you're like, hey, I'm going to heal you some. I've got that end of turn, let 3 different targets regain 1 HP each, and if I boosted it with my base power, I'm actually going to give somebody 3 HP. Oh, hold on, you would regain 3 or more HP. you can use a power. This also combos with other heroes' healing, because it says whenever a hero would regain 3 or more HP, they may use a power instead. This doesn't mean whenever you would let a hero regain 3 or more HP. Whenever any effect would let a hero regain 3 or more HP, they can choose to not regain HP at all and instead use a power, which is great. You get a lot of extra power uses, you get a lot of extra damage and extra effects on the board, but again, at a cost of you're not getting the healing from Dr. Medico, which is kind of the point of Dr. Medico, but sometimes you don't want the healing, you want more danger.
They asked if it was Gloomweaver was the second opinion.
No, second opinion is Revolt, which is, I think, a thing that we also did talk about on the pages of the letters. Revolt! The card's not a foil card, but the light shines just in a way that can make it look like it's almost foil card. Anyway, I'll stop messing around with that and talk about a real foil card.
Oh, lower. There you go. That's cool looking.
Yeah. Dr. Medico Malpractice. And the promo that is coming with this set is even still different art. So he's got 27 HP, which is huge considering his base health amount, his base HP amount is 24 HP. This one's 27 HP, so that's a lot. His ability is called Red Right Hand. Until the end of your next turn, whenever a hero target would regain HP, Dr. Medico deals one target that amount of energy damage instead. So you use this power, you don't heal for a round, and it's whenever a hero target would regain HP. So it's healing from you, healing from other people. Dr. Medico deals one target that amount of energy damage instead. So I've definitely seen playtesting games set up with Dr. Medico and the Scholar and other Argent Adept and other characters that have a lot of innate healing, and like, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to use this to burn brightly. And his incapacitated abilities are one hero can use a power, destroy an ongoing card, or destroy a target with only 1 HP.
So they said he is bright red, Gloomweaver is totally involved.
Yeah, okay, yes,
yeah,
yes. So
yeah.
I thought you were asking if Gloomweaver was the character.
I think I read it wrong.
Yeah, if he's bright red, then Gloomweaver's involved for story reasons, but he's not pictured on the card.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I think that was it. Does From the Brink come back from being removed from the game if Medico comes back with the right of revival, Malpractice Medico joins the...
I know what they're asking.
Okay.
So if Dr. Medico is incapacitated in some way, and then he comes back, he gets his cards back, but not from the brink. It has been removed from the game entirely. It's gone. Even if you do the thing where you like swap in one hero for a different hero in the OblivAeon games where you can do that. From the brink's gone. So.
Second opinion does not trigger if someone could only heal for 2 HP, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 or more HP.
3 or more.
They may use a power instead.
Okay.
Cool. So, that is Dr. Medico. There we go. Very nice. I should have brought my set of Sentinels here and then just put it into my set as we went, but I didn't. So it's going to go over here, and then we can use that for some future game that we play. Any last questions about the Medico, who is a doctor, before we go on to Mainstay?
Up higher.
I'm working on it. I can see the screen.
Okay.
I can see it.
I don't know.
I can see it. All right.
I think the 2 HP things, if they're at 27 to 29, would only regain 2 HP, but the effect would give them +3 normally. Would it still trigger?
It says when a hero target would regain 3 or more HP, if they're at 25 hit points and their maximum is 27 hit points, so the most that they would regain is 2, they cannot, you're not going to regain 3 HP, so you're not able to use that ability. It's only if you actually would regain 3 or more of the heaps, the heat points. Whoppa. Now is a good time for questions as I sort out the one-shots and the ongoings and the equipments. That's about as far as I can go.
Someone says, I thought Rites of Revival brought stuff back like with Raw.
You know, that is a ruling that might have been made that, as I said that, I was like, oh man, somebody's going to correct me if I'm wrong here. Oh yeah, because if you Rites of Revival Raw of the variety that is the destroy all my own stuff for maximum burnage. So yeah, if using Rites of Revival brings back Ra with all of his stuff back, then that would also bring back From the Brink. So I guess you do get From the Brink back. I will say, you guys are going to be able to catch me in even more than usual lies right now, because for the last, several months, I have been fully in writing RPG stuff, and so all of my rules brain is used up with RPG rules, which is great. It's what I like. It makes me happy, but it means that I'm out of practice. So you guys are going to be able to tell me that I'm wrong a lot, which is probably fun for you. I don't know. Wow, I kind of just guessed where the camera was and missed terribly.
Honestly, I thought you were doing pretty good. How do you store your personal set of Sentinels? Sleeved, unsleeved, boxes, etc. Not sleeved.
Not sleeved. I don't
Never
sleeve cards.
Sleeved, yeah.
There we go. It's totally in there. So I have 2 boxes, which will become 3 boxes when I get OblivAeon. I have the core game box, and I have the Villains of the Multiverse box. And in the core game box, I have all heroes. Heroes. Actually, I have 3 boxes. I have the core game box, I have the Vengeance box, and I have the Villains of the Multiverse boxes. So it'll become 4 boxes when I have OblivAeon, because so much stuff. And then I'll put it all in one of these cases that are right here above my head. Those collector's cases. That's what's going to become my system, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then the core game box is all heroes. And that's one of the reasons I have to go to the collector's case, because heroes won't fit in the core game box anymore once we add 11 more. And then the Villains of the Multiverse, or the Vengeance box rather, is all villains, and the Villains of the Multiverse box is all villains slash Vengeance style villains and all environments. And then I keep oversized cards in those 2 wells in the Vengeance and the Villains box, and then tokens in bags in those wells.
Someone also asked that someone said the Kickstarter for that will be next month, right?
No.
And yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's in July. The Kickstarter for the Sentinel Comics role-playing game is going live in July. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, and that's just fine. It's mid-July. We'll do more announcements when we get close to it. But in mid-July, we'll be launching the Kickstarter for Sentinel Comics, the role-playing game, and thus it will be running over Gen Con. And we mentioned that we're doing this, we've talked about this Sentinel Comics live thing that livestream will be doing in this very room, in which Maggie is going to play some gross, weird goth thing, and other heroes are going to play cool stuff. Are you implying
that my stuff isn't cool?
No, it's gross, weird, and goth stuff.
On the internet right now?
Yeah.
You put that permanently on the internet?
No.
Cool.
I think it's great and kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't think you really know. Me and Adam talked.
You haven't. I asked you 3 weeks ago.
I talked to you about it, and we haven't revisited it since then, but me and Adam talked about it, and he knows what's going on.
Oh, that's good. As the GM, I probably need to know what's going on.
Well, we'll talk about it later.
Until we get there, weird and gross. And these characters will be playing through a game that I have created for them. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that game is going to start in June, on June 19th. Tuesday, June 19th is the first session, and we're going to be doing 6 sessions. There is, I think the first Tuesday in July we're skipping because you're out of town for a convention.
Yep, I'm at Dice Tower.
Right, so we'll be doing 2 sessions, skipping a session, and then doing 3 more sessions, and then the last session will be at Gen Con. It will be live at Gen Con. So we'll be still casting it live, I think, Saturday night at Gen Con, but also the Gen Con schedule has posted now, so you can see on the Gen Con schedule. I don't think you can sign up for things just yet. I think they just posted the schedule, and sign-ups are happening in a week or 2. I don't know. I'm not Gen Con. I'm not in charge of that stuff. But we'll be doing the last session of Sentinel Comics live at Gen Con. You can watch from your home, or if you're at Gen Con, you can go to the thing and watch it. Maggie, what is the chat saying?
Okay, so Vengeance for Villains, I've been using Rook City. Might have to change that. And someone else said, let me think here. Oh, Speedy
Olrak.
He said Maggie's totally not goth, and so he's definitely not aware of what goes on in this office. But
okay, Maggie dresses all nice and professional when she's on live streams. The rest of the time, it's white face makeup with black lines.
Some of these people have seen me at conventions. They know
at conventions, you're being professional. It's the rest of the days at the office when it's just.
That's me.
That's you.
What do you think the turnaround time for the Sentinels RPG getting to to people will be.
To backers. It's going to be fast. So we've been working. I don't want to say anything and then be wrong, you know, right? Because like I don't want to be like, oh, I can promise you this, and then it doesn't happen. Ooh, bad. So we've been working on the book for a couple of years now, and we're deep into art and layout and all that stuff right now. The writing is more than 70% done, but less than 90% done, which you would think would be 80% done, but I don't want to commit to that. It's somewhere in that range. So yeah, we're working on a lot of exciting things, and with that, the Kickstarter will be happening over Gen Con. I don't want to commit to anything, but it's going to be much faster than OblivAeon, certainly much faster than OblivAeon. I want to have it in everybody's hands before Gen Con of 2019. And I think that's a very, very reasonable estimate to imagine that will happen, but we'll see.
Somebody says, would PDFs of the books...
Those will go out to backers as soon as those PDFs are done. So you'll get your PDFs before you'll get your physical books.
Okay.
So what I want to do is I want to kind of pause all of the non-mainstay questions for now, and then carry on and do this mainstay deck. Otherwise, we're never going to get through it.
Yeah.
And then we can, as I'm doing setup between mainstay and idealist, we can do more other questions. And again, as we're doing setup between idealist and ReVoe, we can do more other questions. And then we can do more other questions at the end. But for now, I want to kind of put a pause on it. So if you've got questions, hang on to them. There'll be time to ask them again because I have to do this whole setup. But now that we've got mainstay set up, I want to dig into it. Otherwise, this live stream is going to take 4 hours. And I've still got some shipping I need to do and some meetings I need to do today, and then a dinner thing tonight.
I've got a field trip.
You have a field trip? What time is a field trip? It's like
3:30.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we've got to be out of here before 2:30. I want to say. What time is it now? 11:30?
10:40.
Right, because we started at 10. I was thinking 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. We're good. Still, we need to keep moving.
Isn't that Road Warrior Mainstay and not Void Guard?
That's Road Warrior Mainstay. This is Void Guard Mainstay in my hand. Okay. I'm holding it, getting ready to talk about it.
Does Mainstay like to punch?
Yes, Mainstay likes to punch. That's a great question. And with that question, let's start off by talking about Void Guard Mainstay's base power. His innate power is called Beatdown. It's all about punching. He deals one target, 1 melee damage, then deals one target, 1 melee damage. So he punches somebody, and he punches somebody else, or the same person. Somebody else or the same person. You can punch whatever you want to. You can punch your friends. Just your friends.
Just your friends.
So there is. So that's the one. We'll put, since Void Guard Mainstay was confusing, we'll put him down here to be less confusing. Where are all my one shots into? I can put him. I like to see.
Can you tell us more about Mainstay's secret nemesis, Secondary Leave?
No.
Okay.
Cute. All right. So let's start with. Oh, I've got these. That goes here. Choop. All right. So I've got one shots and one more one shot in my hand. I've got ongoing cards, and I've got equipment cards. All right. So let's start with a card that has 2 copies. It's called The School of Hard Knocks, and it shows Mainstay. I always put my hand like, oh, up in. Is this where the camera's on? No. Okay. It shows Mainstay in a bar with Stuntman, and they're getting ready to punch some people. Oh man, the punching. It's going to happen. Punching. Oh yeah. Trevor's going to watch this and be like, Christopher, the cameras don't focus that way. Don't do those things. He's like, I'm a Maverick. I do what I want.
That's what I did the first time. I was using Jen's camera, and it kept unfocusing on her and making her blurry. It's not nice. I didn't know that.
Oh, you were doing it.
I was doing it in that one.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I can be like,
you can do that.
Here we go.
Look, yeah, that's the best way to do it because people can actually see it.
There you go. Cover up Mega's face.
That's much better.
And then we do this.
Actually,
it's not too bad. Not too bad. That's hilarious. Now I know that I can do that.
Gonna punch some drug boys.
Yes, punching drug boys. That's exactly what happens to this card. Each non-hero target deals Mainstay 1 melee damage. So every bad guy punches Mainstay for 1 melee damage. Then Mainstay deals each non-hero target 3 melee damage. So like this is good. And also all the non-hero targets punching Mainstay, that's fine. He's into that. That's fine. So School of Hard Knocks. Boop, boop. Let's move over here to the Lonesome Highway. We see Mainstay hanging out with Mongolian Deathworm. Mainstay deals 1 non-hero target 2 melee damage. Then, if Mainstay is the hero character card with the lowest HP, he deals 1 target 4 irreducible melee damage. So either if he's alone, if there's no other heroes, or if he's the lowest HP, he gets to do a bunch more damage. What's that?
Mainstay's a masochist.
He's not. He's just he'd rather that he get punched than any of his friends get punched.
Aw, that's nice.
Right.
He could be my new favorite. Haka's usually my favorite.
Haka's a good one. If you like Haka, you'll probably like Mainstay. But they're very different.
Yeah.
He's a complexity 2. I didn't mention that at the beginning, so I thought I'd mention it now. We'll save Drop the Hammer, because that one, actually. We'll do Bad to the Bone. Oh my gosh, writing cards for Mainstay was fun.
I like the names.
He's just punching Desert Eagle.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, because this is not more awkward.
Yeah, well, I thought you could see it better, but not when you do that.
Increased damage dealt by Mainstay by this turn by 1. Mainstay deals 1 target, 2 melee damage. So if you increase all the damage you're doing this turn by 1, then you deal a target 2 melee damage, and then you can still use your power, plus any other end of turn things that might happen. Don't worry about that for now.
How do you make sure you don't accidentally repeat a card name?
Oh, I was just going to say I have them all in my head and so I don't repeat them, but that is the first level of defense. The first level of defense is I've got them all in my head so I don't repeat them. And that works like 99.9% of the time.
Really?
But yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
okay,
like genuinely, that actually works the vast majority of the time. But there was one card during OblivAeon in one deck. One of the playtesters might be in the live stream, be able to remind me which one it was. But there was one card that was in, I think it was in a hero deck that I had a name on, and someone's like, "Oh, you can't use that name. It's the name of a card in Plague Rat's deck." And so I've got people that do that, double check for me, because I am not infallible.
Russ said the playtesters let him know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
Russ, do you remember which card that was? Was it? I don't remember. I think it was Plague Rat's deck, and I don't remember whose deck I put that card in. Anyway, so yeah, I duplicated a name, but I think that happens very rarely. I know that happens extremely rarely, but.
Is Bad to the Bone a one-shot?
Bad to the Bone is a one-shot. We're talking about all the one-shots first, then all the ongoing cards, and then the equipment cards. I could see doing it in the other order, but we've already started, so it's too late now.
Hey, that card that, card that negates damage.
The card that negates damage
from the Drug Boys will still result in Mainstay doing 3 damage to each, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. A card called Kick the Tires. Oh, yeah. Actually, we're going to save Kick the Tires. We'll do Whiplash next. Kick the Tires and Drop the Hammer are all about the effects that combo
Drop
with
the Hammer. I really like that.
With the equipment cards. So yeah, we'll talk about Whiplash. Whiplash is a guy getting thrown out of a bar. It's the next bit out of the School of Hard Knocks card. One shot, Mainstay deals 1 target, 2 melee damage. If that damage destroyed a target, Mainstay deals 1 target, 3 projectile damage. If not, destroy an environment card. And so the effect of this is you deal a target 2 melee damage. If you destroy that target, you can deal somebody else 3 damage. There's 3 projectile damage. So you can either grab a guy, knock him out, and throw him into some other guy, or you can grab a guy and throw him through a window, destroying an environment card.
Nice. I like this.
This was a fun deck to make. All right. What do you want to hear first? Kick the Tires or Drop the Hammer? Whichever one gets typed in the chat first is the one that wins. Kick the Tires or Drop the Hammer?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Also, this tells us how long the delay is and how fast people type.
So far. Nothing.
Wow. Nobody cares. All right. Well, then we'll just go ahead with...
Drop the Hammer.
Drop the Hammer. Who got it? Who said it fastest?
Cult of Gloom.
Nice.
Then like a bunch of other people.
And they all said Drop the Hammer.
Most of them. There was
Fair enough.
Two that said Hammer Time.
Hammer Time. That's great. All right. Drop the Hammer. Destroy any number of your equipment cards. Now, you've only got 3 equipment cards, and I don't know if you can tell. Probably not, but I can tell you. They're all limited. So this is at most destroy 3 equipment cards, unless you have an equipment card from some other source, or if your ongoing cards turn into equipment card for some weird reason that certainly can't happen. So you destroy any number of your equipment cards. Then Mainstay deals 1 target, X irreducible melee damage, where X equals the number of equipment cards in your trash, plus 1. You may draw a card or play a card. So this isn't based on the number of cards you destroyed. It allows you to destroy your equipment cards first if you want to, but then it does damage based on the equipment cards in your trash. So like I said, you've only got 3 equipment cards and they're all limited. But there are 3, I believe. No, there's 3 copies of Sweet Rhonda and the Durasteel Studded Vest and 4 copies of the Void Belter. So you could have a bunch of equipment cards in your trash. It's true.
Sweet Rhonda.
Sweet Rhonda's the name of his motorcycle.
I love that.
And then you can draw a card or play a card. So you can combo off of this as well. Now we're going to kick some tires. It's a one-shot. You may draw a card first. Then you may destroy an ongoing or equipment card. So you can use this to destroy a villain ongoing card, or one of your ongoing or equipment cards, or a teammate's ongoing equipment card. There's situational instances in which you want to do that. Then, if you destroyed one of your cards this way, you may play a card. So you can use this to combo, where you can play this card, draw a card, destroy one of your ongoing or equipment cards, and then you can play another card off of that. So there's a lot, you might notice, here in this deck of self-destruction, both directing damage at himself, pulling it from other people to himself, and also destroying your own stuff. Let's get into why that is now.
Somebody asked, would Skyscraper's links count? And then they said the rules for putting cards in front of other cards are fuzzy for me.
Yeah, so Skyscraper, any of Skyscraper's equipment cards that are in his play area don't count as his cards. They'd have to be something that says this equipment card belongs to Mainstay. It isn't just in his play area; it actually is one of his cards. Because the card does not say destroy an equipment card, destroy any number of equipment cards in your play area. It says destroy any number of your equipment cards.
And then Sweet Rhonda versus Pink Lady, who would win in the drag race?
I mean, Pink Lady, because Sweet Rhonda is a sweet motorcycle, but Pink Lady is a spaceship that can like jump from planet to planet. So like, you're gonna destroy the drag track. I'm just saying. And then you win.
I don't know if that's winning or not.
You think you lose?
I think that you lose if you ruin the track.
Well, I mean, Pink Lady can be operated within atmospheric conditions, so you can come down and like fly around with it.
Okay.
Yeah. It wouldn't destroy the track, but the track would be worse for the wear as a result. It would damage it.
Yeah. All right. Fair.
All right. So next card. Speaking of Pink Lady, good reference, everybody. I'm going to do this two ways. This is a new move that I'm going to try.
Oh gosh.
Here. Whoop. And then we can just like get him closer and closer and closer.
Nice.
I'm coming off center. All right. Pull up.
Oh no.
Pull up. Yeah. All right, cool. Is a card called Headlock, and it's got Greaser in a headlock by Mainstay. So good reference.
Dr. Medico hurts himself. Dr. Medico takes damage. Mainstay hurts himself. Is Voidguard doing all right?
No.
Should we be worried?
Yes, you should be worried. This is the thing. Thematically, like Voidguard was a team called the Sentinels, and now they have these powerful OblivAeon shards that have powered them up a lot, but at a great cost. And also, they're really pushing themselves to be this power level. Like they were 4 of them made up one hero deck before. So the 4 of them as individuals, like they're really pushing the extremes of what they're going to be able to manage, and it's costing them a bunch. But they have to do it. This is the time.
Doesn't the Voidguard go to space? Isn't the bike spaceable?
So the bike is usable in space, but it's not a spaceship. It's not like a spaceship is like, oh, he just flies through space on a sweet motorcycle. He can use it in space.
This is not Laser Riders.
It's not Laser Riders. But he doesn't need to because he can just fly through space. He has an OblivAeon shard. But he takes the bike with him places, yes. So the bike is spaceable, but not in the same way Pink Lady is. Okay, Headlock, play this card next to a non-hero target. So you play this next to a target, and it goes in play and locks in next to a target. Damage dealt to that target is irreducible. So all damage dealt by anybody to that target cannot be reduced. Then damage dealt by that target is irreducible and redirected to Mainstay. So all damage that target that you've got in a Headlock deals goes back to Mainstay, and it's irreducible to Mainstay. When this card is destroyed, Mainstay deals one target 3 projectile damage. So when this card is destroyed, the person that he's got in a headlock, he throws at someone else. Now, this card doesn't have any innate way of destroying itself. That said, it's an ongoing card, so there's various villain effects that can destroy it, and of course your own cards can destroy it. So you can choose to break the headlock, but not via the headlock card, it has to be via some other card.
Can we have a Mainstay on a space motorcycle promo in Laser Riders? God, I wish.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be real cool.
That'd make a lot of sense. That'd be cool. It'd be real cool. We've got Captain Cosmic. Have you seen the Captain Cosmic promo for Laser? It's so cool.
I packed like 400 boxes with him.
Those pants.
Them pants, yeah.
Yeah.
For real, though.
The hair, like, oh, so much. We've got a card called Shard Strength. Speaking of the OblivAeon shards, we've got a card called Shard Strength. It's an ongoing limited card that increases all damage dealt by Mainstay by 1. It reduces the first damage dealt to Mainstay each turn by 1. At the start of his turn, Mainstay deals himself 2 toxic damage, and that is both increased and reduced because of the very effects of that card. And when this card is destroyed, you may use a power. So he can, and this shows him, the art on this shows him transforming from his regular skin form to the stone form that we see on his Void Guard, his Road Warrior Mainstay card. So it increases the damage it deals and it reduces damage dealt to him, but at the cost of actually dealing him toxic damage. So everything's got a cost. It's Oblivion time. Everything's
why
bad.
not a full Nelson?
Because you put him in a headlock.
Would make more sense.
You put him in a headlock.
A full Nelson is totally different than a headlock.
Yeah, and he could be a full Nelson, but it's a headlock. You put him in a headlock. Did you see the art? It's a headlock. All right, we'll save that one. We're going to go on to preemptive payback, which isn't actually payback. We need to talk about how this works, but now's not the time. We've got, we've got Mainstay punching Sergeant Steel there. When Mainstay would be dealt damage, you may first destroy this card. When this card is destroyed, Mainstay deals 1 target 3 melee damage. So if someone's about to deal you damage, you say, no, hold on, before I take that damage, I destroy this card and deal somebody 3 melee damage. And there's a chance, if a target with 3 or fewer HP and no damage reduction was about to deal you damage, you could destroy this card, destroy that target, and then take no damage. So it's possible.
I like that.
Mano a mano. And this shows Mainstay going up. I'm going to do the thing again. Now this is mostly just a challenge.
Not covering all my face. Come on. There you go. Trevor's gonna be mad.
This is great. This is what makes good live streams. How many viewers do we have in live stream now? 7, 8
viewers?
Yeah.
85.
Wow! I'm sorry for being bad at this.
A lot of pressure, right?
No, it's look, the level of quality that I have doesn't change.
No, I know.
Right,
I've been here.
It's just this is the quality that I put out, and you want it better? That's too bad. Mano a Mano is a card involving Mainstay and Boar the Unstable, one of the scions of OblivAeon, facing off. Play this card next to a non-hero target. When that target is destroyed, destroy this card. So this is kind of similar to Headlock. The difference being that Headlock isn't destroyed when that target is destroyed, so you can carry around a person in a headlock for a while if you want to, but it's bad. At the start and end of your turn, Mainstay deals that target 2 melee damage, and that target deals Mainstay 2 melee damage. So there's just punching that happens at the start and end of your turn.
The punching.
When this card is destroyed, Mainstay regains 2 HP. So this puts Mainstay in kind of a face-off duel sort of situation. The last ongoing card is a limited card called Leader of the Pack. Whenever a hero target would be dealt damage by a source other than a hero target, you may redirect that damage to Mainstay, not melee, to Mainstay. So this is a card that lets Mainstay say, no. Any damage that's coming from out there is going to me. When this card is destroyed, you may draw a card and play a card. So, and it's a you may, it's not a you must. So you don't have to redirect all the damage for all the other heroes to you, but it's cool too. All right, we've got 3 pieces of equipment. What are we going to see for? I'm going to do it in the order that makes the most sense. We're going to start with Sweet Rhonda because that's the one we've talked about already. I'll turn them like this, so it's not. I don't know if you guys. Can somebody in the chat let me know? Is this stuff that's here even vaguely visible? I know you can see it.
Oh,
but is it helpful?
You can look at.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's.
I'm just going to watch this thing now. This is cool.
It's very distracting. I'm not going to lie.
That's okay. I'll just do all the thing, and you be distracted over there. All right, Sweet Rhonda, a motorcycle, but it's got this shard lines through it. It's really cool. At the end of your turn, either draw a card or destroy one of your ongoing cards. If you destroy a card this way, you may play a card. So Sweet Rhonda allows you to leave stuff behind and pull new stuff in. Reduce damage dealt to Mainstay by non-environment cards by 1. Can't get away from the road. And when this card is destroyed, you draw 3 cards. So this is just a great utility card for him. It gives him some extra card draw, gives him some extra card play, and even a little bit of damage reduction.
Somebody says they need you to talk about his vest.
That's the next card.
Oh, okay.
It's funny that you should mention that. Good timing.
When they said his vest, I was like, Christopher's vest is very normal today. There's nothing special.
It's gray.
It's nice, but there's nothing special about it.
Wow.
I said it's nice first.
There's nothing special about it. It's fine. Done. All right. The next card is a vest. It's the first vest I've ever put in the game. You'd be surprised, right?
I am actually.
I'm not all about vests. I'm not.
You have a lot of vests. For a guy that says that. You wear a vest almost every day of the week except for one day.
I have more ties than vests.
That's fair. I have
more shirts than vests.
Yeah, that's fair, because vests don't have to be,
I have more vests than shoes. I have a lot of shoes, but I have more vests than shoes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising.
You have
a lot of shoes.
Well, so if you're not counting my boots, because I'm thinking about the shoes that live in my shoe rack in my room. I have like a pair of like work boots for outside.
Yeah, I know what those are. Wait, no, I don't know what those are.
I have like work boots for like working outside in the garden or something like that.
Don't you have like leather Converse-y boots?
I wouldn't call them Converse, but those are in my shoe rack. Those count as my shoes. So if I'm not counting like my work boots, and I'm not counting my climbing shoes, because I have a pair of special rock climbing shoes that I don't wear around. I don't walk around in those shoes.
Yeah, nobody does that.
Right, so if I don't count those two, I have 15 pairs of shoes.
Oh my God, I have so much more shoes than you.
Good.
Your wife organized my shoes when she watched my cat. I was like, oh, I forgot I left those out. Thanks, Rachel.
Durasteel studded vest. It's an equipment card. It's a limited equipment card. You can only wear one vest. It's a sweet vest that's got a design for like the Void Guard team. It's his biker vest, but it's got a Void Guard design. It's really cool. Reduced damage dealt to Mainstay by 1. So he's got a lot of damage reduction in his deck, as we've seen. When this card is destroyed, Mainstay regains 2 HP, and power, draw 3 cards, discard 2 cards. So it just gives him some utility. I'm sure people want to see this as a design, so I'm doing the thing. Cover up Meg's face.
Okay, I don't watch Christopher's shoes. Just to clarify, he wears shoes that make noise. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you are drawn to looking at them. It's not like
I've got shoes that make noise. Like, I've got shoes that when I walk, they go, meep-ma, ha, meep-ma, ha, meep-ma, ha. And I've got shoes that go, beep-up, boop, boop-a-dee-beep, beep-a-dee-boop, beep-a-dee-beep.
Oh, God.
And I've got shoes that are like, hey, what you doing? Hey, what you doing? Hey. Like, it's great. I get little speakers in all my shoes. And
oh, God. Yeah, that's it. It sounds like a little bit of details. I'm sorry.
Last card?
Yeah, you can do.
Can I talk about this last card? Yes. So many of my shoes have wooden soles, and so they, when I walk. The Void Belter is the last card, and it is just the big old OblivAeon shard that he has on a chain that he's swinging around over his head. It's that hoist chain, the hoist chain that he has in the Sentinels deck. He just stuck a big old rock on it, a magic rock. It's not really magic, it's cosmic. When this card is destroyed, Mainstay deals 1 target, 2 projectile, and 2 fire damage. So whatever destroys this card, if anything ever destroys this card, he gets to output a bunch of damage, and his deck has a bunch of things that destroy his own cards. Power. Mainstay deals 1 target, 3 melee damage. You may destroy one of your ongoing or equipment cards. So you can use the power to deal 3 melee damage, and then destroy this card for the effect, or destroy one of your other cards for another effect. So cool. All right, last card is his foil card. Ooh. It's his promo, Mainstay, Road Warrior. He's got 29 hit points. He's got more hit points than his regular one. It's called Bring It. Until the start of your next turn, whenever a target deals damage to Mainstay, he may deal that target 1 melee damage. And because he's got all those cards in his deck that are like, hey, like mano a mano, headlock, School of Hard Knocks, he's making people punch him, great. He punches them back. It's good times. It's good times. What?
I just want to look at it.
It's cool.
It looks cool.
It's real cool. All right, now is a good time for follow-up Mainstay questions and or other thing questions while I put away Mainstay and pull out the next hero. How are you, Maggie?
I'm good.
Good? Are you having fun?
Yeah, the shoe talk really.
You thought you had fewer shoes than I did.
I have way more shoes than you.
Yeah.
I have a whole closet for my shoes.
Yeah. I wish I had. I have a whole rack for my shoes. It's like a closet thing. You've seen my shoe rack, I think.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get like 3 more pairs of shoes this year.
Wild.
Right. Well, my shoes are all of a certain quality level that I'm not gonna just have a ton of shoes.
Yeah, that's fair.
I want like very specific shoes.
Oh, somebody asked, Oxford's not...
Brogues!
Yes.
Oxford's not Brogues.
I think they said Oxford or Brogues, actually. They were asking.
I mean, I have both.
Yeah. What is Durasteel exactly? Durasteel
is a type of metal from space!
Mm-hmm. Cosmic science metal. That's what someone else said, yeah. It's lifesaver resistant metal. Ooh.
Lifesaver is like if you try to
lightsaber.
Like if you try to drop some like little candies with holes on them on it, they resist it. I am going through and removing a card from Writhe's deck since we're talking right now. I will not talk about the card, nor will we look at that card.
I think it's a generic term for a high-tech steel. Mm-hmm. I have heard it defined a number of different types.
It's not just from Star Wars. It's not proprietary to any, like almost a ton of different sci-fi fantasy settings use it, and a bunch of different comics use it, and look, Sentinel Comics does as well.
Okay. Take Walker asked, well, I lost it. Hang on.
Nice.
The chat kept going. It was a big one. Where's it at? Okay. That's the one thing I want to know. Everyone else has an OblivAeon shard as part of their keep. The chat keeps moving, sorry.
How dare the chat?
How dare you speak? I'm just kidding. Wow. As part of their body, how does he get the power of one that's... Oh, how does he get it as not part of his body? But
nobody has it as part of their body. Well, okay. Okay, all right. Both Dr. Medico and ReVoe keep theirs in their body. But their bodies are also, like, not regular style bodies. So, like, the OblivAeon shard that's inside Dr. Medico doesn't necessarily mean that it is fused with Dr. Medico. The OblivAeon shard that's inside ReVoe, that he keeps in his head, doesn't necessarily mean it's fused with him. That's just where he keeps it. Idealist keeps hers on her arm. She's got a gauntlet thing, a bracer, and then she keeps it on her arm. It's not fused to her body, it's just there. Mainstay has his on a chain, and it's it's near enough to him. They all got the power from the OblivAeon shard when they first picked up the OblivAeon shards. They're continuing to use those OblivAeon shards and continuing to use the powers from them. I'm sure that will have no adverse effects to them in the long run.
Okay, somebody else said... Oh, everyone's talking about the redacted card.
Yeah.
Redacted pictures in Wright's deck. Removing cards are not acceptable. Must see redacted.
I'm sorry that you find it unacceptable, but sometimes.
Any word on the next Spirit Island Kickstarter?
Yeah, I mean, we'll be doing one later this year.
Yeah.
So that's a word.
That's a word.
The word
That's
is
some words.
the larch. Let's type a tree.
Okay, so the powers just stick with them. Yep.
So many questions before, and now no more questions.
Could you talk about the card, just not show us the art?
I could.
You could do that.
Yeah, I'll tell you the effects of it. Yeah, I'll talk about the card. I'll talk about the card so we have a complete pile of information about the deck. That's fine.
People are pumped about the Spirit Island expansion.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. 3?
No, just 2.
Well, you have the original Spirit Island as a Kickstarter reward. Don't want to buy the base set separately from the backing the expansion. No. The Kickstarter, I mean, I'll consider it, but in general, like on a Kickstarter, we want the Kickstarter to be focused on the thing it's for, not for a bunch of fulfillment that isn't the same product, if that makes any sense. Oh, it is C.W. Matthews' birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
That's really exciting.
Oh my goodness, that is exciting. We just had a birthday on Letters page and recorded on Friday, and Adam and I sang a song for it.
Did you really?
Yeah, we did. We sang 2 different songs, neither of which were Happy Birthday. We sang them at the exact same time. It sounded awful. It was great.
That doesn't surprise me. Will RPG backers get access to the beta PDF?
The beta PDF? No, you get the final PDF.
Why didn't Christopher print up special cards which just say redacted? I don't know, Christopher.
Because I don't print cards.
Yeah.
I write cards, make cards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. What do I look like to you?
Space hedgehog.
A space hedgehog. I look like a space hedgehog.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm. I knew what you were talking about.
Will Spirit Island ever support 5 players?
Yeah, it will. 6 even.
Yeah.
This is great. This is laid out really nicely.
Yeah, Russ is right. With the mat, if you get the play mat and the extra token pack, it already does support 6 players.
But we have even other plans for that in the future. All right, any other questions before we get into the Idealist?
I've got the coolest cards. I don't see anything. Is it okay to drink spirits while playing Spirit Island?
Encouraged.
Encouraged, yeah.
Encouraged. Not required by any stretch of the imagination.
But definitely encouraged.
Anything else?
I heard there's not enough fear tokens for that, though. To do it with the...
With the 6 players? So the thing you can do, if it comes up, if you need more fear tokens, you can use... The thing that I've done in games before is I will use the 3 energy tokens and put a 3 energy token with a fear token on it. That's 3 fear. And so you can do that a few times, and now you've got plenty of things there. But if you're playing with 6 players, you've got a lot of things you're tracking anyway.
What self-destructive behaviors will the Idealist deck showcase?
I can only talk about that once we get into the Idealist.
Yeah.
So is now a good time? Are we ready?
There was one other question. Like in OblivAeon, you had the chance to order the base set.
That was a different thing. OblivAeon was the final expansion for Sentinels of the Multiverse, and originally there wasn't a chance to buy the base set of Sentinels of the Multiverse. We added that later due to overwhelming demand. So, like I said, I could be persuaded otherwise. We have nothing is decided final for the Spirit Island Kickstarter at this point, but it seems less likely to me. That said, since it's been brought up here in the chat, I will make sure that when we have our next Spirit Island Kickstarter meeting, that we talk about it and consider it as an option. Because in general, I want Kickstarters that are for a thing to be focused on that thing. Like I've seen companies before do a Kickstarter where it's like, oh, hey, here's a Kickstarter for our third product, and you can also get our first and second product on it. And I don't like that. I want it to be focused on the thing to prove the viability of it. Because I know a lot of people want Spirit Island. If I do a Kickstarter, it's like, hey, here's just a Kickstarter for another print run of Spirit Island with no expansion material.
It would still make
it would probably fund, and I don't want to do that thing. Kickstarter, Spirit Island is already funding itself. It's already self-supporting. I want to do a Kickstarter to be like, hey, do you people want another expansion? How much do you want that expansion? Not how much do you want the base game more. How much do you want another expansion? So.
Is the Idealist name a reference to Shakespeare?
No, she is an idealist. She is not a Shakespearean idealist. She's just a ReVoe style idealist. It's because her memory was wiped, and she's essentially only a few years old now, but she advanced very quickly, and she has an extremely positive outlook about everything, but then this deck starts subverting that. So.
And yes, the Spirit Island expansion is for sure happening. Bone Squid asked that.
Yes. Well, it's for sure happening in Kickstarter. If the Kickstarter doesn't fund, then it's not happening.
Yes, that's fair. I think that was the last of the questions. I think that we can go into it.
Let's get into the Idealist. She's got 24 hit points, which is way more hit points than she's ever had before. She's looking cool. She's flying through space. And her base card has the power Wild Imagination. You draw a card. You may put a fragment from your hand under concept in play. Fragments and concept, what do those things mean? What's up, Maggie?
They meant her real name, Miranda. Is that a ode to... Okay.
No, that is not either.
Okay.
It's just a name.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know what her real name was. So.
What do you mean real name? You're saying Idealist is not real? All the things that I say are lies. They're all lies. There is no person named Miranda Fisher. The Idealist doesn't exist.
I actually know Miranda Fisher.
You don't. She's not real.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. This is very troubling for you.
I went to high school with her.
It
feels real weird now.
Yeah. No, she was...
My childhood was a lie. All right, let's keep going.
No, not all of your childhood. Just 60% of it.
Part,
oh, no, more than that.
Oh, okay.
Not just that. Way more.
Okay, keep going.
You agreed to do this with me. The Idealist. I said that the power, you draw a card and you put a fragment from your hand under a concept in play. Fragments, concepts, what are we talking about? We should probably get into that stuff. All right, so let's look at concepts first, because even though with other decks I would look at one-shots and then ongoing and equipment stuff to see how the deck, we really need to see what her concepts are and how they work for us to understand the rest of what's going on in this deck. She's got two concepts that are like her bread and butter, awesome concepts that she likes to use all the time. Sorry, three. I thought I put that in the wrong place, and I did. She's got three awesome concepts that she uses all the time as her regular loadout of stuff. And then she's got another concept that's bad, and then she's got a bunch of one-shots that are fragments, and then she has a few one-shots that aren't fragments, and then she has she has an ongoing limited card and an equipment limited card, only one of each of those. That said, her concepts are all ongoing cards, except for one of them, the bad one, and we'll talk about that last of the concepts. So, we've got flying knives, we've got giant floaty head, and we've got a karate robot. We'll start with the flying stabby knives, then do the giant floating cat head, and then a karate robot.
Somebody asked, are concepts also ongoing or just concept keywords?
I just said that.
Oh, okay.
You weren't listening.
Well, there's a delay too. So.
No, you.
Oh, well.
You, not them.
Oh, well, I was listening, but I wasn't sure if we exactly covered it. Sorry.
So, yes, all of the concepts except for the bad one are ongoing cards. So, flying stabby knives is an ongoing card. It's also a concept, and all of the concepts except for the bad one just have a power on them. Only a power, nothing but a power. Power. Destroy all cards under this card. The Idealist deals up to X targets, 2 psychic damage each, where X is the number of cards destroyed this way, plus 1. So first, when you use this power, you destroy all the cards underneath it, and then you deal a number of targets, 2 damage each, based on the number of cards you destroy. If you use this power with no cards under it, it'll still deal 1 target. So if this card, if you use this power, there's no cards under it, it says deal 1 target, 2 damage, because it's X plus 1, where X is the number of cards destroyed this way. If you've got 6 cards under here, you'll destroy up to 7 targets, 2 damage each. Now, they've got to be 7 different targets, just like the regular multi-target damage in Sentinels, the Multiverse. You can't be like, all right, I'm going to choose 7 targets. I'm going to choose that target, and that target, and that target, and that. That's mean. Don't do that. Poor Maggie. Why would you do that? Also, not allowed in the rules. So anyway, that is the thing. This card destroys all the concepts underneath it, or all the fragments, all the cards underneath it. They don't even have to be fragments if you want to do something sneaky, which we do. We'll do sneaky stuff later. So yeah, flying stabby knives. She just makes some knives and throws them around at lots of people. Let's look at a giant floaty cat head. Giant floaty cat head.
With laser beams.
Yeah, with laser beam eyes. My arm's not long enough. I need to get stretch arms. It's a power. Destroy all cards underneath this card. You draw X cards, where X equals the number of cards destroyed this way plus 1. Okay, cool. So it works like the stabbing knives, but instead of dealing that number of targets damage, you draw that number of cards plus 1. But also, if you destroy at least 1 card this way, you may destroy an ongoing concept or environment card. So with this power, if there's no cards under it, and you use the power, great, you draw a card. Use the power to draw a card. It seems like a thing you probably don't want to do, but sometimes you really need a card. Okay, fine. However, if you use this and there's at least 1 card under this card, you use the power, you draw 2 cards, because there's 1 card and the 1 more you did, and then you can destroy an ongoing concept or environment card. So this lets you to destroy one of your or an opponent's or someone else's ongoing card. It lets you destroy an environment card very usefully. The laser beam cat eyes, destroy that environment card. But also you can use it to destroy a concept. And sometimes you'll want to for various different reasons, like you have too many concepts in play. None of these concepts are limited, so you can have stacks of them in play. There's 2 copies of Flying Stabby Knives, 2 copies of Giant Floaty Head, and 2 copies of Karate Robot. So you could have all 6 of those, plus this other one, in play. And sometimes you might need to pare those down for some reason, which we'll get into. Or you could use it to destroy that last concept that we're not going to talk about yet. First, we're going to talk about the Karate Robot, which is somewhat inarguably the coolest of the concepts. It's really awesome. It's a Karate Robot. I think I put this one on the Kickstarter in a Kickstarter update because cover up that Maggie face.
You cover that up.
Karate Robot. Destroy all cards under this card. Idealist deals 1 target X melee damage and X psychic damage, where X is a number of cards destroyed this way, plus 1. So if you've got 2 cards under this card and if you use this power, it does 2 plus 1, 3 melee damage and 3 psychic damage to a target. Very cool, very good at fighting, very awesome. All right. Last concept is called the Monster of Id, and it's her looking all dark, sinister. Concept. When this card enters your hand, put it into play. If you draw this card at the beginning of the game, it goes right into play. Whenever this card enters your hand, you immediately put it into play. Increased damage dealt by the Idealist by 1. Great, so as long as this card's in play, all the damage the Idealist deals is increased by 1. And that would double up with the Karate Robot to be, since it's X melee and X psychic, that would be plus 1 and plus 1 on both of those. That's very nice. That seems great. We like this Monster of Id, right? At the end of your turn, move 1 card from under another concept in play to under this card. So the Monster of Id steals cards from other concepts, and you choose which one, but at the end of the turn, it's going to steal 1 card from under a different concept to under this concept. If no card moves this way, the Idealist deals herself X psychic damage, where X equals the number of cards under this card plus 1. All right, so this is the problem. And that's increased by 1 because she has plus 1 damage. So this is the problem, is that this card here is going to deal her damage if it can't steal cards. So you've either got to keep feeding your other concepts knowing that this concept is going to try to steal one, and if it can't steal one, it's going to hurt yourself. Or you've got to use some way to get rid of it. But while it's in play, it's increasing your damage. So it is helpful. It's very beneficial to have that plus 1 damage. But you've got to deal with this, like, managing the monster of your own id, because at any point in time, it will lash out and deal you a ton of damage if it's not being actively fed. So those are the concepts. And then everything else in the deck supports those concepts. So I think we want to talk about fragments first, then one-shots, then ongoing, then the ongoing and the equipment card. Any questions before we get into that stuff?
I don't think so. Some
Great.
people had some questions, but they were answered by chat. So.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so Hedgy Hogs. We've got this spiky Hedgy Hogs that somebody pointed out earlier, so we'll start there. It's an ongoing card, it's a one-shot card. It's a fragment. It's got 3 copies. Fragment's just a secondary keyword. All the fragments are also one-shots. So it's a fragment. The Idealist deals up to 2 targets, 2 melee damage each. Put this card under a concept of play. So all the fragments are going to do a quick thing and then go underneath one of the other concepts. And you can put it under the Monster of Id if you want, but you shouldn't do that because that's not helping you. You should put it under a different concept. The Monster of Id will steal it in its own time. Don't worry. Yeah, so it deals up to 2 targets, 2 melee damage each. Great. Some damage out there, and then the then it goes under a fragment. You've got a bright idea. It's a spark of inspiration. It's just a little lightning bolt. Whoop, whoop.
They want to see the card back, too.
Yeah, that's a good one. So this is the card back for, here, hold that up. Yoink. That's the card back for the Idealist. Yeah. This is the card back for Mainstay. Good job.
You can barely see Mainstay, then you can see it again.
This is the card back for Mainstay, card back for Dr. Medico, card back for Idealist. Mainstay looks better in real life. It's real dark in the video.
Yeah, it's kind of like an orangey reddish color.
Yeah, it's got a gradient.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Medico, boom, and Idealist. And we will show you Writhe when we get there. Never mind. This is Writhe.
Well, that looks cool. I like that.
Thank you. All right, we'll put these cards back where they go.
Who, dark and mysterious? That's what somebody said, not me.
Yeah.
I would never.
No. All right. Spark of Inspiration. It's one shot, it's fragment. The Idealist regains a hit point, then deals each non-hero target 1 psychic damage. Wow. Draw a card, and then put this card under a concept in play. So that just keeps fueling the concept. We've got a sound beating. She's got a boombox held over her head. It's one shot's fragment. She deals 1 target 3 sonic damage and puts this card under concept in play. These cards are very straightforward because they've got to be. They're just powering up your other stuff. Better punching. What's up?
Alex said Idealist is definitely a goth teen.
No. She's much poppier. She's into pops.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I got totally different vibes when I was a teen than this, so. And as we all know, I was a goth teen.
That is true. Better punching. She's got a big old punching fist boxing glove thing. She deals 1 target, 1 irreducible melee damage. Then it lets you use a power, and if that power deals damage, that damage is irreducible. And then this card goes under a concept in play. Now we've got the card Bright Idea that I mentioned earlier. You may draw a card. Cool. Put a concept from your trash into play, and put the top card of your deck under that concept, and then put this card under a concept. Doesn't have to be that one in play. So Bright Idea is a great way to accelerate or to resurrect your concepts. So good times there. Yep.
A lot of these cards seem extremely focused on concepts. What if you don't get one in your opening hand?
If you don't get one in your opening hand, you're going to be fine because they're focused on 2 things. And I don't know if you've noticed. They're focused both on concepts, but also on drawing cards. So you're going to eventually get a concept. We ran a lot of tests and play testing about like, okay, do we still have things to do if there's not concepts? And how long does it take to get a concept? And the answer is not long. Like, they come up.
What is the Idealist's favorite anime?
Some Super Sentai show, certainly.
Somebody said Power Rangers.
Yeah, yeah, but one of those types of shows.
Yeah.
Conceptualize. It's the last of the fragments. You search your deck for a concept to put it into play. So if you didn't get one of these 6, because you probably didn't want this one as much, but if you didn't get one of these 6 concepts in your opening hand, then you've got 3 copies of Conceptualize. You've got a bunch of things that say draw a card, but also you've got 3 copies of Conceptualize that just say search your deck for a concept, put it into play, shuffle your trash into your deck, and put this card under a concept in play. So that's another thing that accelerates that very thing. Okay, now we've got a bunch of one-shots, and these are helpful with that as well. Vivid Thoughts. This is a sweet art, really sweet art of her summoning the karate robot. Karate robot, making it happen, focusing on art. Okay, that's the song for the karate robot. Yeah, it's a one-shot, but not a concept. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You put any revealed concepts and fragments into play. And you put the other revealed cards in your hand. That's great. So you reveal 3 cards. You've either got 3 cards going into play or 3 cards going into your hand, or some combination, more likely, of the 2. You've got a one-shot that's called Making Things Up. It's a shot of her watching some sort of Super Sentai show and also making a little concept of a Ranger of Power sort of looking chap. It lets her draw 3 cards, discard 2 cards. You may play any number of concepts from your hand, and you may play a fragment. So this is not a fragment, but it does put out a concept and put out a fragment if you've got them in your hands.
Am I correct in thinking the keyword was originally figment?
I don't think so. I think it's always been fragment. I'm trying to remember. Like, it would make sense if it was at one point figment, but I think it's always been fragment.
Okay.
Like the idea behind it from the very beginning of the design process was that the fragments are fragments because they're not whole in of themselves. They're a thing, but without this concept to be a part of, they're not enough.
Okay. And then is the Karate Robot the best-selling action figure of all time in the publishing universe?
No, it's probably Mr. Chomps.
It's probably Mr. Chomps
Probably
still.
Mr. Chomps, like, man. Or no, actually, the action figures are going to sell the best. Like you would hope it's some deeper cut, like a Karate Robot or even a Mr. Chomps. But really, it's going to be like a Legacy or a Wraith action figure are going to be the best-selling ones because it's going to be the one that actually everybody wants and has a much more wide mainstream appeal. Bored Now is the name of the last one-shot, and I think that I showed off this art before, which is she's texting. She's floating in space with a phone, texting, and Wager Master's there, and she's made a big old TNT for him. He seems concerned. I like his nose. If you look, his nose like loops over the edge of the TNT
so
barrel.
Teeny.
He's teeny and cute. I mean, that's the size he is. He's a little guy, but
I enjoy him.
yeah, no, Wager Master's great. I think that might be the next plush I want to do, because I want to do more. Because I'm going to be sad when we run out of Mr. Chomp's plushes, but I think doing like a Wager Master plush would be fun. So that's the thing. That's the thing. Groom would be a great plush for a very small number of people.
Yeah.
Like you can't. Like yes, there's a bunch of super deep cut plushes that I would love to do, but I've got to print like at least 3,000 of them.
You're right. Like
so,
he would be a universally like, oh my god, that's an adorable alien.
What is that,
dude?
Right. And then also like we would probably sell 300 of them. That's not enough to make it as a product. Yes, I want a Groom thing. More than Groom, I would rather have a Blugo plush. Way more than Groom.
Oh, Blugo.
Right. But again, super limited market.
I would do a Blugo.
You got right.
I know.
It'd be fun.
I know. You're
but,
right.
But Wager Master is at least a primary deck. Like it's a mini expansion, so it's a much more deep cut than Mr. Chomps. But Mr. Chomps is from Unity's deck, who's also a mini expansion, but she's more well known. But still, anyway, so that's it's got to be something that has more appeal. You get to sit down on one of our product meetings here real quick.
There's a lot of Blugos going on.
I
right
know.
now.
That's I want a Blugo plush that I can hold and I can kind of like be my own.
Start a Blugo plush and see how it goes.
Right? Exactly. We'll do a Patreon for plushes.
Oh my god.
That's not a real thing.
That's not a real thing at all.
This is the thing that's fun about Maggie. I'm like, here's an idea that's wild and outrageous, and Maggie's like, yes, let's do it. I'm like, no, that was a wild and outrageous idea.
Sometimes they do it and it works out. So like, you know, sometimes. Sometimes. Anyways.
Bored Now. That's the name of this card. So one shot, return all cards under a concept to your hand, shuffle that concept into your deck. So this is a really good way to solve Monster of Id, but it can also be useful on other concepts if you've got things that are out of hand. Then, the Idealist deals one target, X psychic damage, where X equals the number of cards returned to your hand this way, +1. So it's another thing to like, I'm going to stack up a bunch of things under this giant floaty head, and be like, yeah, I don't need it for the card draw, I can blow it up for the damage. All right. All we have left is a couple of cards. It's an equipment card and an ongoing card. And these are just kind of utilities that allow her to focus what she's doing. One of them is about gaining control, one of them is about losing control. So we'll start with gaining control, which is the focusing tiara. It helps her focus, because it's called a focusing tiara. It's an equipment card, it's limited, and at the start of your turn, you may either draw a card or put a card from your hand under a concept in play. So this lets you you could put a different concept under a concept, or one of the one-shots that isn't a fragment under a concept, or even another copy of Focusing Tiara under a concept. So that is the thing that allows you to break the rules there. Additionally, whenever you use a power, afterwards, you may put a card from your trash under a concept in play. Again, letting you do other things there. So Focusing Tiara lets you move stuff, it lets you power up your concepts in ways that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. And then the last card is the Strained Superego, and this shows her with her concepts kind of losing control due to the presence of OblivAeon. It's an ongoing card. It's limited. It says at the end of your turn, either move a card from under a concept in play to under another concept in play, or destroy one concept in play with no cards under it. Then you may draw a card or use a power. It has a power, play a fragment. But the tricky thing about this is really helpful to handle things like Monster of Id, because it lets you move cards around a concept or even destroy a card concept, unpowered concept, an unboosted concept. But it's not, you may do one of these things. It's you either have to move a card from under a concept in play to under a different concept in play, or you have to destroy a concept in play with no cards under it. You've got to do one of those things. Now, if neither of those things, if this is the only card you have in play, then like, it's fine, nothing happens. But if either of those two things are in play, it's going to do one of those things. The utility is very helpful, but it's also tricky to manage.
Warhog asked if you can go back to saying how many of each there were.
Oh, yeah. There's 3 of each of the concepts, except for the... I'm sorry, there's 2 of each of the concepts, except for the one concept that's the monster of id. And then, in general, there's 3 of the strange superego, there's 3 of the focusing tiara, and I actually think there's 3 of everything all the way down. Yeah, there's 3 of every other card all the way down. So 3 of all of her one-shots, ongoings, and equipments, 2 of each of the concepts, and 1 of the bad evil concept that's awful. Monster of id. And it's not awful, it's very useful, but...
Is Monster of Id the first hero card that is not a one-shot, ongoing, or equipment?
It might be, but more importantly, it's the only hero card in the game that forces you to play it immediately. As soon as it comes into your hand, boom, it goes into play. So...
hang on, there's more questions. Sorry.
Sure. As you... Okay.
We're having a little bit of...
So while you catch up on that, I'm going to talk about the promo, and then you can have your questions ready. Does that work for you?
Probably.
Probably sounds good. The Super Sentai Idealist has 25 HP, and it has a power, Form the Head. You move a concept from in play and any cards under it to under this card. So she just takes a concept. She takes one of these concepts. She's been building up these concepts, and maybe even like Monster of Id has been building itself up. And she just grabs one of them and grabs the power for herself. She puts it underneath this card, this very hero character card here. Then she deals 1 target X energy damage, where X equals the number of cards under this card, and then she destroys 1 card under this card. So she can do this numerous times, building up a bigger and bigger pile of damage under here to make this other karate robot she's built, it's even bigger, do a ton of damage, but at the cost of her loadout that she's got in play. Cool stuff. All right, Maggie, hit me with your questions.
Sorry. My screen refreshed automatically, so I lost some of them, but there are some coming in. Does Monster Vid play from opening hand?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll wait and see. I let them know.
So yeah, since Maggie lost all those questions, if you asked a question that has not yet been answered,
if she takes a card with cards under it, do all of the cards in the stack go to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It specifically says take a concept and all cards under it and put it under this card.
Somebody mentioned an OblivAeon plushie.
Yeah. That could work. Yeah, I could see that. I'm like hesitant to make scary, giant, evil things that killed millions of people into plushies, but that's probably just me.
I'd buy it.
You're goth though.
So it was the same Monster Vid question about the it being the first one-shot equipment or ongoing.
Yeah.
I think they missed that. So if you could just answer that again.
Oh yeah, I think it is. Yeah, but also the thing that I said that was notable about it was that it was that it forced play. It was the only card in the game that forces the play of itself. Only hero card.
Monster of Id doesn't start in play, does it? Yeah. It
doesn't start in play, but if it is in your opening hand, then it does. If it's as soon as you draw that card, whenever it's in your hand, if at the start of the game you draw your four cards and one of them is Monster of Id, goes into play.
Is the gem in the focusing tiara the OblivAeon shard?
No, the gem is on her.
Yeah, the OblivAeon shard's on her arm.
Yeah, that is a different space crystal that she has gained that helps her focus her powers. Oh, this goes over here.
Her card was not the one with the... Her deck was not the one with the redacted in it. That was...
No, that was Riot's deck.
Yeah,
the redacted deck card is over here.
Okay. Can the OblivAeon plushie be real to life size?
No. I mean, I guess like technically, because OblivAeon can manifest whatever size that he wants.
That big.
He could.
Itty bitty.
He could. Yeah. He could make himself that big, fly into your ear, and then make himself full size.
Don't say those things.
Look.
Oh God, I hate that idea.
This is what happens. Happens.
Does her OblivAeon shard get jealous that she has another space gem?
No.
If she forms the head, who forms everything else?
That is a question that I actually can't talk about yet.
I'm assuming that the focusing tiara would let her put the cards that go into her hand from the environment, like Magmaria?
Like from Magmaria, right?
Yeah. And then we get Benchmark and Stuntman in the next stream. Yes, right? That's what we agreed to?
What?
Benchmark and Stuntman in the next stream?
Yes, and then we've got 2 more streams.
Yes.
So this stream is about 4 characters. This is the longest one we're doing. Oh
and
my
then
god. We'll do another stream just about one of these. And then we'll do another stream just about the other one of them. And then in those streams, even though streams are shorter, you should still tune in because I'm going to have announcements about what my plans are for these things. But I haven't talked to Maggie about it yet, and I don't want to blindside her too much. I want to blindside Maggie just a little bit. And
I
so,
appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Why is the card redacted?
Because I don't want to show you what's in the art of it.
Fair. Can the OblivAeon plushie change size?
Yes. Yeah, you can squish it down. You squeeze it.
It'll be like my donut.
No, it'll just be like any plushie. The Mr. Chomps plushie also changes size. You can squish it down.
Yeah.
And you can also squeeze it out, and then you'll tear it in half. It'll be bad.
It'll be bad. Idealist has space friends? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark.
Sure. She definitely has. She spends a lot of time doing stuff in space, and she's good at making friends. How are we doing here? That one's okay.
When is the first RPG stream due to happen? June 19th, Tuesday.
Tuesday, June 19th, around noonish Central Time.
Yes.
Noonish or 1. We might do it at 1 instead of noon. Maybe not.
Whatever works out.
Yeah. I was thinking that 1 might be a little...
Yeah, we'll start. We are going to start announcing stuff soon.
Yeah,
for that.
Right. We'll talk more about that in May, given that June is the month after that. And then we'll also be doing, Paul and I will be doing GM session prep beforehand, but only watch that if you're okay with spoilers, because we're going to spoil all the things that are going to happen, and all the things that we know that are going to happen, and the players are going to mess it up.
Someone said now they need to know more about my donut. My donut is like one of those squishables that squishes down really small and then expands.
All I have to say to you is the sticker on the back of your thing.
Oh yeah, donut care.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Can you repost the you and Paul prep stream?
No.
We determined that was...
Yeah, Twitch ate that one.
So
the reason it's gone is because Twitch ate it, and it doesn't exist anymore, and I'm actually pretty grumpy about it. This is my being grumpy face. You'll never know when I'm grumpy. But no, so Twitch, that one is gone because Twitch ate it. The character creation session we still have, Maggie?
Yes, character creation is there.
And it's watchable. You can just go to the Twitch account right now and you can watch the character creation session.
It should also be, I think me and Trevor determined it's on YouTube. It officially went onto YouTube. It might be marked as private still.
Okay.
We determined this Friday night.
Okay, that's fine. We'll get there. But we probably, I am somewhat confident that Trevor and Maggie were able to save the session 0 character creation session. And that's really good, and that's helpful, and that's important, because there's a lot of big stuff there. But the GM session prep session that Paul and I did is gone. And that's bad for a bunch of reasons, but we'll rehash those things. Probably, maybe even the Tuesday. I don't want to commit to that because I think I'm out of town that Tuesday. Sometime between. No, I don't. Rather than committing to that, what we'll do is because live stream things always take a bunch of extra time for Paul and I. So we will the first session that we do, and each of the sessions we'll have the GM session prep right before we do that session.
Okay.
But unfortunately, that one's gone. And yes, I know you want it. I want to be able to give it to you. It does not exist for that to happen.
How did that phone from Board Now have service in space?
Because it's a special space phone.
Yeah. Is there an ETA for when Spirit Island will be back in the GTG store? I lost the rest of it.
Okay, so I'm going to say a thing, but I might be wrong.
I'll tell you if you're wrong.
Okay. I think we'll have it back in the Greater Than Games web store by the end of May, because we have a shipment that's coming.
I'm pretty sure that whole shipment is already
sold to retailers.
To retailers.
So here's the thing. We have a shipment that's coming in May.
And I think we have one coming in June as well.
Yeah, we've got
June
shipments.
one is the one that would be for us.
Right. But here's the deal. We just told you we've got a shipment coming in May. And so by the end of May, it will be purchasable from your friendly local game store, or even maybe certain online retailers. There might be even some on Amazon. I don't know. I don't know the distribution of where they're all going. I know they're all going out, and there's a bunch of them, and they're all going out to stores. So yeah, you can wait and buy it from the GTG web store, but you can also buy it from your friendly local retailers. Go out there and buy Spirit Island. And people are like, oh, should we buy it from you? Do you get more money? Should we buy it? Like, every copy of Spirit Island comes from us. Wherever you buy it, it's good. I want you to get Spirit Island in the way that works best for you.
Will these mini pack characters show up on the digital game before the launch of OblivAeon, or are they I'm sorry, the question moved.
That's fine. I believe that the schedule is and like there's too many things in my head to keep track of. That's why I have multiple whiteboards in my office full of notes, because that's like my external hard drive. And then I also guess I have a computer. I believe that the schedule is that Void Guard will go live like as everything is shipping out. So like as people start receiving things, and then other things go, and then like the rest of it goes live over the course of it. So nothing, the OblivAeon stuff isn't 100% live in the video game until people have their physical rewards, until people actually have OblivAeon in hand. But there will be like Void Guard and Benchmark and Stuntman that come out in the process of that process. But the people that for sure can give you the definitive answer on that are the Handelabra folks. And I think they actually just recently put out an update on their Kickstarter and on their website, with all that information. So ask them, not me. Like they're ones.
They're in the chat too. So
perfect.
I think they responded in some form.
Great. Yeah, listen to them. Ignore me.
This stream is being recorded, so this stream won't be an issue. Once we realized that was a problem, I've been going back through. Yeah, we fixed it. We've been going back through and highlighting.
We shouldn't lose any more of the Twitch videos.
Yeah.
We've lost some of them, and probably most concerningly, we lost that the GM session prep. But so be it. Like we've learned a lesson. We're new to this streaming thing, and we're making it up as we go along. Maggie, what time is it? 11:15.
It is 11:38.
Oh man, I'm just behind all the time here.
Yeah.
That's not bad though. We're gonna get out of this in just over 2 hours, by the time, because we only have the one deck left. So 2 hours is not bad.
And this deck looks cool.
Well, you like it because it's
gothy.
You
can just say it, guys. Fine.
This is the dark, creepy, gothy deck. Like he's creepy. He's super creepy.
I don't play as the creepy characters. I don't play as Night Mist. No. Matt loves Night Mist.
Night Mist isn't creepy.
Well, she's a little creepy. She's
not creepy.
A little creepy.
Her deck's creepy. She's not creepy. She's nice.
She's nice. Okay. I never played her, so.
I just have a lot of Night Mist sadness right now, so.
Oh, well.
All right. Are we ready to talk about Writhe? And then we can get back to any other questions. I'm happy to field some questions at the end, too.
Yeah, let's do that, guys.
Cool. All right. So this time, since the plan before was to save questions, don't refresh your page. I know you didn't do it. I know you did.
I will not touch anything on this.
Yeah, perfect.
She's nice, and she's dead.
She's not dead.
That's what somebody just said with a big sad face.
Not dead yet. Not dead until OblivAeon. And then she's not really dead. Like, dead's a state that comic book characters can come back from, and she's beyond that. Okay. So.
That's worse.
Yeah, that's worse.
Let's not talk about it.
We're going to start with Writhe. Writhe is so creepy. This is what he looks like on the back. Look, that's him. That's him. That's his face. It's getting torn off of him.
That's cool.
Is it? So Writhe is, he's got 19 hit points. Talk about very few hit points. Look at him. 19. Ooh, I'm Writhe. Okay, Writhe is creepy. His base power is called Sink into Shadow. Search your deck or trash for the Shadow Cloak. Put it into play. Shuffle your deck. Great. So his power is all focused on getting the Shadow Cloak, which is the next card we're going to talk about, because this whole deck focuses on the Shadow Cloak. We're going to talk about the Shadow Cloak. Then we're going to talk about his one-shots, because they are all things that use the Shadow Cloaks in different ways. Not all of them, but most of them. Then we'll talk about his ongoings, and then his other equipment cards. The Shadow Cloak is his most important equipment card. Everything in his deck focuses on that. What's up?
This is the lowest non-Southwest Sentinel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, by far. 19 hit points. Oh, boy.
Yeah, scary.
That said, his base power is get your Shadow Cloak out of your deck or your trash and put it into play. And the Shadow Cloak is going to help him out with that hit point situation. Shadow Cloak. It's equipment card. It's not limited because there's only one copy of it. Reduce damage dealt to Writhe by 1. So it reduces all damage that he takes by 1. And he can have it most of the time. Increase damage dealt by Writhe by 1. Also, he's frequently in a team with Dr. Medico, so we can get some sweet, sweet heals from Dr. Medico. The first time Writhe would be dealt damage each turn, you may discard a card. If you do, prevent that damage. So you can it reduces all damage you take, but also the first time you dealt damage each turn, you can discard a card to straight up prevent that damage. So like he's got abilities to avoid damage. Not to worry. Cool.
Who's more creepy, Writhe or Biomancer?
Well, since you asked that, we'll go on with this card, Darkly Dreaming, which is a one-shot card featuring Writhe.
2 copies of it.
2 copies of it. It's a one-shot. It's featuring Writhe and Biomancer. And Writhe is doing terrible, creepy things to Biomancer.
Ooh.
So, like, look, they're both very creepy for very different reasons and in their own ways. Biomancer doesn't seem pleased in this situation. All right, it's one shot, 2 copies. Writhe deals each non-hero target 2 infernal damage. You may destroy the Shadow Cloak. And then there's a lot of cards that say on them, you may destroy the Shadow Cloak. If you do, each target dealt damage this way deals itself 2 psychic damage. So this is a really powerful area damage effect based on destroying the cloak for more damage. The cloak is himself. Like the physical cloak is who Writhe is. His form is definitely pretty messed up. As I mentioned to Maggie, the incapacitated side of the card shows his face and the cloak getting torn off of him, and that's a very painful process because it's really a part of him now.
According to AZ, Writhe has a,
just the word writhe, like if something's writhing in torment.
Has a great record collection.
It does. Absolute Zero and Writhe connected on Eugene. Writhe's name is Eugene, and they connected over their record collection.
What kind of music is it?
A lot of different things. They've got, they've got some jazz and some things that you would consider oldies. But
I'm young, and that's not my fault.
Yet. It's not your fault.
Eventually,
yet.
it'll be my fault, but not today.
Several years from now, and you still haven't aged, be like, Maggie, come on.
I'll have to show you something later.
Oh,
about how I haven't aged in like 10 years, basically. It won't be the exact same. Better hair.
Okay. That's good. That's good. You do have good hair. So there's a card called Distorted Perception. It's a one-shot. It's got 3 copies. Writhe deals 1 target 1 infernal damage. You may destroy the Shadow Cloak. If you do, that target deals up to 3 targets, 2 melee damage each. So Writhe pops the target and says, hey, I'm going to pour the power of the cloak into you to make you hit your friends. And that's good to do on opponents that have damage increases and things like that. Lurking Shadows, yes?
Did you say the number? How many?
3 copies.
Okay.
Lurking Shadows has 3 copies. It's a one-shot. You may draw a card. If the Shadow Cloak is in play, select a target. Increase damage dealt by Writhe to that target by 1 until the start of your turn. You may use a power. And it lets you use a power off this one shot, and then you still get to use another power. So without Shadow Cloak in play, this is a card that you may draw a card and you may use a power. But if the Shadow Cloak's in play, lots of cool other things that happen. All right. Fight and Fade. It's Writhe being creepy in the darkness. There's 2 copies of it. Writhe deals 1 target 2 infernal damage. You search your deck and your trash for the Shadow Cloak and put it into play. If you search your deck, shuffle your deck, and then you may play a card on top of that. So this is another way. He's got his base power for getting the Shadow Cloak, but he has other ways of also getting the Shadow Cloak.
2 of those.
2 of those, yes. Then a card called Nowhere to Hide. Sorry, lots of talking.
I'll just take this one.
Sure.
Oh, no, please don't.
You can describe it.
I can read it. Nah,
Go for
you do it.
It's all you. You volunteered.
Nowhere to Hide.
Yeah.
One shot. Right. Oh, now I've already said his name wrong. Writhe deals 1 target 3 irreducible infernal damage. If the Shadow Cloak is in play, damage dealt to that target is irreducible until that start of your turn. You may use a power. You may hide in the darkness, but I speak its language. You wanted me to say that.
You're reading all the flavor text. No, I didn't. I haven't been reading any of the flavor texts.
Oh, well,
those are for you guys to discover on your own.
Oh,
Except for this one, now you know. No, it's okay. Now you know one of the flavor texts.
There's 2 of those.
There's 2 copies of this card, yes. Right, so you deal target 3 infernal damage, and then you can make a target to that damage irreducible and use a power. Good job. Well done, Maggie. Well done. Penultimate Penumbra. Look, I had a lot of fun naming these cards,
I like
too.
that name. That's a good name.
Of course you do. It's a one-shot. There's 2 copies of it. You may destroy any number of equipment cards, yours or other people's. Then Writhe deals up to X targets 3 infernal damage, where X equals the number of cards destroyed this way plus 1. Because Writhe, even though he's a creepy, weird, darkness, goth guy, is also at heart an inventor. Skiamaki. Do you know the word skiamaki?
Actually, I don't think I do.
It is a word for shadowboxing.
Yeah, nope, did not know that. Wouldn't have known it.
Skiamaki.
I've never been into shadowboxing.
You never taken up shadowboxing as a hobby?
No, it's not one of my
Weekend
many
shadowboxer.
hobbies.
1 target deals itself 1 psychic damage and 1 melee damage. If that target is still in play, you may play an ongoing card or an equipment card. Search your deck or trash for the Shadow Cloak, put it into play, shuffle your deck. So another way to get the Shadow Cloak out, and it deals the target some damage, and you can get some extra playing of cards out of it, so good stuff.
Spell that one out loud for me.
Skiamaki. S-C-I-A-M-A-C-H-Y. Skiamaki.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. Somebody asked for it to be spelled, so I typed it out.
Google it. Somber Tinker. This is a one-shot. You may draw a card. You may move an equipment card from your trash to your hand. You may play an equipment card. Could be the one that you moved to your trash or to your hand, or a different one. And I like this one because in this one he's making this like tech suit for himself, and in the process of doing so, he's just put some designs on it. He hasn't really put a lot of thought and effort into what the designs are. The tech suit that he's made just straight up makes him look like OblivAeon. Like, he's really messed up, and he doesn't even realize it. He's like, oh, no, like, these are just some regular designs. Like, this is an OblivAeon outfit you made for yourself. No.
It's normal.
Yeah.
How many were there, did you say?
I didn't say, I don't think, but there are 3 copies. 2 copies of a card called Swallowed by Shadow. Destroy a target with 4 or fewer HP. You may destroy the Shadow Cloak. If you do, destroy another target with 4 or fewer HP. So you can completely devour 1 target, or 2 if you destroy the Shadow Cloak. And then Unquiet Night is his last one-shot. 2 copies of this, you may destroy an ongoing or environment card. If the Shadow Cloak's in play, you may draw a card or play a card, and it doesn't destroy the Shadow Cloak, it just gives you extra utility if you already have your Shadow Cloak when you play that card. All right, getting down to the final stuff. We'll do ongoings first because they all interact with the Shadow Cloak in different ways, and then we'll go to equipment cards, which are things that give you alternate ways of using things. We'll start with Unnerving Target. Which is what he is. He is an unnerving target. It's an ongoing card, 2 copies, it's limited. The first time Writhe is dealt damage by a non-hero target each turn, the source of that damage deals itself 2 psychic damage. Now this is when he gets dealt damage, which if you have the Shadow Cloak in play and you're discarding cards, you're preventing a lot of damage, so it doesn't come up. So this is kind of like an alternate thing. Okay, if you do get damage, the thing that dealt you damage deals itself psychic damage because you don't want to interact with Writhe. He's just real creepy. Okay. Now we've got a card called Concealed Assailant. It's an ongoing card. It's just a power. The power says Writhe deals 1 target 1 melee damage. Then Writhe may also deal that target 1 infernal damage and 1 psychic damage. So you first deal 1 melee, and then you can choose to, if you wish, deal an infernal and a psychic as well. If at least 2 types of damage are dealt by Writhe this way, destroy the Shadow Cloak. So if you've chosen to do the extra 2 types of damage, you destroy the Shadow Cloak. But if you had the Shadow Cloak in play, it was increasing all your damage by 1. So you dealt 1 target, 1 melee, or 2 melee damage, and 2 psychic damage, and 2 infernal damage, and then destroyed the Shadow Cloak as a result. So like, sure, you paid for it with the Shadow Cloak, but you got a lot of cool effect out of it. So this is a very variable power in terms of the way you want to use it. 2 copies of an ongoing limited card called Lies of the Shadows. Whenever a hero target would be dealt damage, you may destroy the Shadow Cloak. If you do, redirect that damage to a target of your choice. So Lies of the Shadows allows you to use the Shadow Cloak to either protect yourself with redirection or protect a different hero target. So that's cool. Last ongoing card is called Erratic Form. And we see him climbing upside down on the ceiling, and his arms are all bent backwards, and his head's going the wrong way. He's just the worst. When the Shadow Cloak is destroyed, you may draw a card. And this is an ongoing card. There's 2 copies of it. It's not limited, so you could have 2 copies in play. When the Shadow Cloak is destroyed, you may draw a card. So that can come up quite a bit. At the end of your turn, you may discard a card. If you do, you may draw a card. So as long as you have this card here in play, or even worse, 2 copies, you can cycle through your deck very quickly.
Let me see it.
Okay.
I just want to look at it.
You like creepy things.
Well, no, I like the not Batman.
That's Ray Manta.
Oh.
That's Ray Manta.
I'm sorry.
Everyone's favorite conspiracy theorist, Ray Manta.
My bad.
Doesn't even look like Batman. He looks like a Manta Ray.
Looks like
His name is
Batman.
Raymond Mantay.
Oh.
And his alter ego is Ray Manta because he's not very creative. We'll talk about this card last because it's the creepiest. All right. Portable Dark Lab is an equipment card. We're going to do his equipment cards now. He's got 2 copies of a non-limited equipment card called Portable Dark Lab. It allows him to just kind of like delve into the darkness within himself and just do some experimenting and making some gadgets and stuff in there. Reveal the top 3 cards. It's a power. Power. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Put 1 in your hand, 1 into your trash, and 1 on the bottom of your deck. Then you may play the bottom card of your deck. If you do, destroy this card. So you can for sure get a card into your hand and a card into your trash, and you can get a card play out of this for free, but it costs blowing up the Dark Lab. Let's talk about this card first.
Cool. Everyone is talking about it already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like, don't let him forget.
I wouldn't.
I know.
I'm going to get to those 2 last, but I want to talk about this card, but then I'll put it on the bottom of this thing. But if we destroy the Portable Dark Lab, then it'll go into play.
Yes.
It's called Grasping Shadowcloth, and it depicts... oh, no, never mind. It's an equipment card. It's not limited. There's 2 copies of it. It says, when this card enters play, move 1 card from a trash pile to the bottom of its deck. You may destroy the Shadow Cloak. If you do, cards cannot be played from that deck. So it shuts down a deck. You can use it to shut down a deck and prevent it. Or you can just use it to move a card from the bottom, from a trash to the bottom of that deck so that card doesn't get resurrected from the trash. At the start of your, is an equipment card. At the start of your turn, shuffle this card and your trash into your deck. So this card can kind of cycle itself infinitely. And there's art on it and flavor text on it that we won't talk about.
Christopher's a tease.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got 2 cards left. We'll do the creepiest one first because the last one is a cool way to use a Shadow Cloak that I want to talk about. But the first one is called Umbral Siphon. And it's just him holding this, like, spike. He's got... right, I know, every time. He's got this, like... this spike that he's holding. And this is one that I'll actually read the flavor text. But it's got this... It's this, like, jet black spike with purple lines on it and, like, a glowy purple gas coming out of it. And it's a power. It says Writhe deals 1 target, 1 melee damage, and 1 infernal damage. A target dealt damage this way cannot regain HP until the start of your turn. Okay, fine. This is the flavor text on this card is from Mainstay, who says, "Wait, are you suggesting that we drive that spike into a person? Like, that's a bit much, right?" It's a bit much. And he's like, "Yeah, look, I made this spike. If we stick it in somebody, then they can't heal anymore." And Mainstay's like,
spike.
"Right, but it's not necessarily into their head. It could just be into their shoulder, into their leg."
Yeah, head would be bad.
Maggie doesn't seem bothered by this. All right, the last card is called Cloak Projector. It's an equipment card. It's not limited. There's 2 copies of it. It says power, select a target. Reduce damage dealt by that target by 1 until the start of your turn. You may destroy the Shadow Cloak. If you do, Writhe deals that target 3 infernal damage. So it allows you to reduce damage. You select a target and you protect another target, essentially, because you select another hero target or a villain target if you want, or an environment target, and you reduce damage dealt by that target by 1 until the start of your next turn. So you essentially project the cloak onto a target and reduce damage dealt by that target. And if you destroy the Shadow Cloak, you can also deal some damage off of it. So the Cloak Projector is useful because it combos. It helps with Writhe. So there's a lot of cards in that deck that resurrect the Shadow Cloak or pull the Shadow Cloak out of your trash or your deck or give you more card draw because we talked about the Shadow Cloak's super important. It's super crucial to the entire cycle of Writhe's deck. Without the Shadow Cloak, you're going to have a lot of trouble making this deck go. And the base power is, hey, go get your Shadow Cloak from wherever it is and put it into play. So what do you do if you're using this variant? His variant's got 3 more HP. It's Cosmic Adventure Writhe. He's got that gear that we talked about that's kind of got an OblivAeon sort of motif to it for no reason. And he's got a power on it called the Mark II Shadow Projector. Power, draw 2 cards, select a hero. Until the start of your next turn, prevent the first damage dealt to that hero each turn. So he's doing the Shadow Cloak thing. He's selecting a hero target, including maybe himself. He's selecting a hero, and until the start of his next turn, preventing the first damage dealt to that hero each turn. So this gives him like extra Shadow Cloak stuff, even without the Shadow Cloak. But it means he doesn't have as ready access to the Shadow Cloak.
Does the spike kill vampires?
No, it's not that kind of spike.
Not that kind of spike. Sentinel vampires aren't killed by stakes?
They can be, but it has to be a stake of a very specific wood that was blessed in a certain way. There is an episode of the Letters Page podcast called the Blood Magic episode in which we get into that lore pretty heavily. You'd probably like that episode. Oh, you're not even kidding.
Can Chokepoint and Le Capitan really ruin his day then?
Yeah, with the stealing of the card, like we wanted to focus on getting it back, but he's got lots of other things. That was a thing similar to the testing that we did with like, okay, what's the Idealist like without concepts? Same question for what's Writhe like without the Shadow Cloak, and he still definitely holds his own. The Shadow Cloak is a focuser and an amplifier for everything he does, but without the Shadow Cloak, he's not useless, certainly.
Okay.
That's it?
I think I got all the questions. Any last questions as we're wrapping things up, guys?
We've got all 4 of the Void Guard done, so like we said, we'll do Stuntman and Benchmark next. I haven't decided what order we'll do them in. Do you have a preference?
Yeah. Me?
Yeah.
Me specifically?
Yeah, you specifically.
Oh, I kind of want to see Stuntman a lot. I mean, I could look at it right now if I wanted to.
No, you can't. It's sealed up. You can't open these.
It's impossible.
It's stuck.
Benchmark is what somebody in chat said.
Let's do Benchmark next and save Stuntman for last.
Okay.
So we'll do Benchmark tomorrow morning at 10 Central. And we'll do Stuntman Thursday morning at 10 Central.
Yes.
That is correct.
That is correct.
And then this Saturday at 2 o'clock Central?
2 p.m., yeah. Oh, yeah, Saturday. So Saturday at 2 p.m. Saturday at 2 p.m.
I'm good at social media marketing stuff.
You're the best. We're doing a special stream of Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Right here on this channel.
Right here on this channel. In honor of both International Tabletop Day and also National Superhero Day. So we'll be doing both of those, or we'll be doing a stream for that, and it'll be me, Matt, and some other people.
I can do it.
Okay,
I'll be there.
Christopher, me, Matt, and Christopher at least. We might be recruiting some more folks.
But certainly it'll be at least, it'll be you, it'll be Matt, it'll be me, and maybe some other people. It'll be great.
It'll be fun.
And so we're doing that on Saturday, 2 o'clock Central.
Yep.
Just tune in for that.
And like the little ad below Christopher says, we are doing our live stream on Wednesday at 4 p.m. this time because we have some special guests. We have a little bit of change in schedule, so there's announcements to come. But Kathleen Mercury, who's a local game designer, will definitely be on the show with us.
Excellent. We'll see what happens. It'll be fun.
It'll be great. All right. Double checking that I didn't miss anything. When are you all going to drop those RPG guided character creation guide? When are you all going to drop the RPG guided character creation guide?
So that's part of the core rulebook.
Yeah.
So the character creation and the rest of the game. So the starter kit gives you like, here's how to play the game, but it's very like surface level. The core rulebook with way more information on everything from character creation to creating your own stuff as a GM towards archives of heroes and villains and environments and minions and lieutenants and more. All that stuff, and 2 adventures, there's 2 full adventures in the core rulebook. All that stuff is part of the core rulebook, which will be on Kickstarter in mid to late July.
Okay,
Other questions?
I don't see any other questions coming in. I'm excited to play Exoplanets 2, so hopefully you guys can tune in.
Exoplanets 2?
Exoplanets as well.
Exoplanets 2. Exoplanets harder.
Exoplanets as well. Although Kathleen's really good at exoplanets, so it is Exoplanets harder for me.
Yeah,
I gotta bring my A game.
All right.
Just cheat. Just cheat. That's terrible.
Shh, don't tell Kathleen.
Yeah, no internet. Don't tell Kathleen.
Bye, everybody. Bye.